Hi, everybody. I was trying. I was gonna do my best to keep it together, and it just didn't happen. Welcome everyone to the finale of Republic City Rumble. Pay no attention to the captions behind the screen. We are sadly short one Liv for now. Liv will be joining us later. But but yeah, we are here with the finale. Can you believe it's the end of this? It feels like we just started.
So fast.
Yeah.
Uh,
It feels rude that you said that, but it is true.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, welcome everyone. Well, and those of you who are joining us, welcome back. For those of you who were here last time, tonight we have a fantastic episode for you. But before we do, just a couple quick things that I want to remind everyone. This show, Republic City Rumble, goes up on the YouTube. So if you are here for the first time and have absolutely no idea what's going on and you would like to, there is a place where you can do that. Both Q Times and Rule of Lore on our respective YouTubes have a playlist with all previous episodes. So those are there. You can watch them. They're all in one spot under the name Republic City Rumble. So you can always check that out. But for the sake of this, I think I'm going to keep all Rule of Lore based announcements sort of to a minimum because mostly they are relevant for Rule of Lore people exclusively. So most of the ones we've got this week. Yeah, we will go ahead then and just get into introducing our players and their characters. And I'm just going to go around and start with Remy.
All right. Hi, I'm Remy. I'm playing Niho and she uses she/her pronouns and uses the Hammer playbook. Currently is standing very confused in a restaurant holding a spirit in a teacup. Doesn't know what to do.
Excellent. All right, Xander.
Yes, I'm playing Ezra, the firebender who uses he, him pronouns. Also very confused in the back kitchen of this tea house. What was it? Tan's Noodles. And is encountering some foes.
Yep. And of course, Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam Delev. I am playing Tirza. They are an airbender side by side with Ezra in the back kitchen and sure is going to get into something that they can definitely not handle.
And our missing player this evening is Liv in a Day. I will let Liv introduce themselves and their character when they get here. But for the sake of this, for those of you who may not know or remember, Kisima is a waterbender, which was finally confirmed.
Confirmed.
Last episode. And the manager of this team of fine pro benders. So previously, this is gonna be a real short recap because most of it, as Sam correctly pointed out before going live, most of it was a lot of gay panic. So
I mean,
yeah. But we started out with the final, after a lot of waffling back and forth as to breaks in between the matches in the pro bending arena due to some safety concerns with some tremors that were probably not earthbending related. There was a final call on a cancellation for the evening, a postponing of the evening's events to the next evening, at the request ostensibly of the Republic City Police Department, to thoroughly check the foundations of the place to make sure that public safety was being observed, which also offered the Pygmy Pumas, our pro bending heroes, a perfect opportunity to totally legally and absolutely with the permission of the police chief to sneak back into the arena after hours to do some investigating. Of course, they as all athletes do. They needed to gather their strength after the events that had taken place, and with some vouchers as sort of offered as sort of an apology for the evening's complications from one Gravone of Gravone in Inc. I believe is the Gravone Inc. The or the Pygmy Pumas went to an evening meal at Tan's House of Noodles, as Xander mentioned before, where the aforementioned panicking took place. They were joined by their rivals in this match, the Scorpion Bees. There was some planning that took place for the evening's investigations to come, which were interrupted by the appearance of a spirit named Doe, who claimed that the area around the arena was suffering from some serious fluctuations in emotional, kind of spiritual energy, especially recently, and offered his services in investigating the arena this evening. Of course, this was all cut short by the sudden arrival of a bunch of chi blockers who began to square off against the young pro benders, and when we left off, there was the beginning of or sort of the standoff came to an end as the chi blockers leapt into action, and that is where we are going to pick up tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and say that as you all are sort of squaring off against these chi blockers, the one in the back room. So in the back room, if I remember correctly, is Ezra, Kisima, and Tirza. Okay.
Yes, and there are the passed out tea shop employees as well. That Ezra, one has been tended to by Ezra.
Yes, that is correct, and that would be the both front of house people, which is the person behind sort of the counter, the teenager who was sort of the only server, and the both cooks in the back as well. There is, I believe, one chi blocker in the back with you, and as you move forward, Kisima, who sort of stands to who is kind of side by side with Tirza. As Tirza, you immediately drop into sort of like that kind of like combat stance. The chi blocker, instead of coming for you, immediately moves towards Kisima, and as she kind of brings her arm up with her weapon in play, like ready to go, the chi blocker gets in quickly under her guard, and just with a series of quick jabs, you watch as like fully half of, like, all down one side, jabs down one, like down Kisima's left side, her arm and leg both just sort of, arm goes limp, leg buckles under her as she goes down, and just as she's going down, the chi blocker throws one final like tap right to the center of Kisima's chest, and Kisima just fully, you watch as her eyes kind of roll into the back of her head, and she just drops. Which now, I think at this point, you see as the chi blocker turns to you, Tirza, and just says, "Well, let's finish this. Got things to do tonight." So this would be, I believe, the beginning of our exchange here. So this is exciting. This is the first time I've run Powered by the Apocalypse combat. I'm excited.
We switch to the battle combat mode, and the intense music starts.
Yeah.
With the drums.
Yeah, I've actually got the drums music going right now.
Nice.
So, I believe so. The NPCs pick their approaches first, correct? Cool.
Sounds right.
Okay, and then so then we'll go through. What are you all gonna be doing?
Okay. Ezra's intention is going to be he's overprotecting these people that had passed out, but he's near the stoves, and so he's going to stand up and turn on one of the stoves and use the fire and bend it at this thing.
Ooh,
at the chi blocker.
Okay, so this seems like an advance and attack, right? This is like a, okay, cool. we'll go through and like everybody say the like your approaches, and then we'll kind of resolve them as we go. So, all right, what else? Sam, Remy.
Yes. Tirza is going to mechanically defend. They're going to seize a position. There, and then we'll get to the description. When I get
Sure,
there.
sure. And then Remy in the front, where you and the scorpion bees are facing down. Niho and the scorpion bees are facing down. About 4 other chi blockers who are sort of like scattered around the front of house.
I would like to mechanically smash, and I'll let you know what that means when we get there.
Awesome. I'm guessing just by the name that this is an advance in attack. Is that
Yes,
fair?
it is.
Okay, cool. Great. Then in that case, no surprise here. I think the chi blockers, all of them are going to take the advance and attack here, which I believe. Oh my gosh! And there's a specific order that these take, right? So like. It's
First defend, then
right.
Attack, then
Great.
evade.
Okay,
which
so
none
Sam,
of us are doing.
Go ahead and tell me what is Tirza doing?
So Kisima drops to the ground in front of Tirza, and Kisima's the scariest person I know. So this just got at least 8 times scarier. And also, I need to get her out of here. So I grab her hand on the ground and use that as an anchor point to whip my glider around, start to get some momentum so that I can swing her up and slide her onto it and move out toward the doorway. So even if I'm fighting from the door.
Okay.
So I can
back
always
door.
get, back and out. And since he's moved into the room this far now, I can always get tall. In terms of seize a position, that is move to a new location.
Okay, great.
Or disengage with a foe, whichever you would like to interpret.
Sure. Yeah, that I will. Yeah, that makes sense to me. So this is one of those. This just happens, right? That you mark this, or is this you mark the?
So it does say any foe engaged with me.
Right.
Can mark 1 fatigue to block this technique.
Gotcha.
I don't know whether that is its own action, though. I don't know how it fits into like the larger
Right.
action economy. Otherwise, I guess you could exhaust yourself by preventing someone from leaving. I don't know. Both interpretations make sense.
Fair enough. Then what I'm going to say in this case is I'm going to treat it as just a. I'm going to treat it as part of what they were going to do already, which will come in a second. So, actually right now, because everybody else chose advanced attack, right? Ezra and... Okay, great. So then, in that case, so as basically everybody starts kind of moving, Tirza, you immediately go in to grab Kisima. You watch in that moment that it takes you to pull her. That is an opportunity that this chi blocker takes to just move in and sort of like anticipating kind of your exit, sort of moves in and is going to do this. Is going to exhaust. It was going to mark 1 fatigue here for that. I'll say this much. What ends up happening here is this will be you do manage to get Kisima, but as far as your sort of exit from this situation, you are immediately still engaged with the chi blocker. I'm gonna say that is kind of what they're going to be doing here. We'll kind of go room by room, and Ezra, you can take yours at this point.
Yeah, so Ezra, as soon as Tirza starts moving and sees that Kisima has been sort of recovered, again, he'll click on the burners of the stove that's near him, and wait for the flame to appear, I guess.
Okay, yeah, no,
It's like click, 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 click.
Yeah, you click it.
Come on.
Let's go ahead and because this definitely feels like this is gonna requires a bit of a roll here in this.
Sure.
So, what do you think? What kind of
I
role do you think
could,
this?
Rely on my skills and training for maybe like assessing my surroundings, resourcefulness, that type of thing. Trick to roll perhaps with like a creativity
Ooh, interesting.
or assess a situation maybe.
Yeah, I like. So remind me what it is that you're trying to accomplish with this. Are you trying to like do like an attack, or are you just trying to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ezra doesn't firebend in that way, so he's trying to use an open flame to bend that instead of producing flame.
Okay, great. In that case, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and call this. I am gonna call this a skills and training. Yeah, this is gonna be like that same kind of, or is that? Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll-
Yeah, that works.
Okay, that's what I think we're gonna do here, because I think that makes the most sense in this.
7, 8.
Context. 8. Cool. All right. So for that, you.
That's
Okay.
like a success with consequences, right?
Yeah, I think it works differently in combat, doesn't it? That you can choose certain. Sorry, I'm looking at the rules here.
Oh, good.
Oh, I see what we did here. Okay, so like, you choose from your techniques from in this.
Oh, like my moves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't really have one that apply.
Fair. I think we can call that then. This is sort of like this is a bit of like an improvised situation that I
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, all right. I'm gonna say then, as you what does this look like when Ezra does this, as you kind of like pull this sort of flame from the.
So I could even say that, yeah, Ezra is like face like right next to the burner, clicking it, trying to get the gas to ignite, and it's just like, come on, and then it sort of ignites into this fireball that Ezra then pushes up with both hands and throws overhead. And so you just see this like gaseous ball go towards the chi blocker. Yeah, fireball.
Yeah. So yeah, as the fireball sort of moves towards the chi blocker, you see as they basically are forced to leap back and sort of twirl a bit, kind of almost like windmilling their arms a bit in front of them to sort of just basically move some of like the flames away from their body. But you can see that it basically has forced them to sort of take a step back, which sort of in this instance I'm going to say has basically like negated the like advantage that they gained here against Tirza. Meanwhile, in the front, as basically the chi blockers advance, they are going to move forward, and their approach is very much one of attempting to sort of corral all of you and the scorpion bees as they begin sort of spreading out around you into sort of a circular pattern and start pulling in, pressuring you in. So this is basically functionally this is sort of like putting like the pressure here. So right now I'm gonna say that they're gonna choose the strike. They're gonna choose strike, that you can't use the strike, which is unfortunate, as this is more or less what many of the scorpion bees were about to do. So, but Niho, on the other hand,
Yeah, I chose
not doing that.
I chose Smash, and so I'm going to mark the 1 fatigue necessary to do this, and I'm also going to use a specific move called Walls Can't Hold Me, in which when I rely on my skills and training to dangerously smash my way through walls or other obstacles, I roll with passion instead of focus. I'm literally going to stomp and earthbend to claw down and like smash like teeth the front of the store and drag it away.
Okay, all right.
So now there's just a giant hole in the wall.
All right, I'm gonna have you go ahead and give me that roll. Go ahead
Okay.
and give me that roll.
This is Niho without the restrictions of pro bending rules. Niho is just unleashed.
Yeah.
That is 10.
Okay. So that's very fun. So basically, here's how this plays out before as you're going to do that. The chi blockers begin closing in, sending a bunch of very calculated strikes designed to sort of push everybody off their footing into the center of this sort of circular movement as they push you towards one of the walls. Niho, what does it look like when you do this? What does that look like?
It looks like I don't want this to be gross, but kind of like a wall of teeth that just kind of smashes into the side of the wall and pulls away, and then opens up, deposits the debris back away, so there's room for people to exit and escape.
Incredible. Yeah, there's just sort of this that you all in the back, you hear this just colossal crunching, crashing sound of unmistakable sound of earth being bent in the other room, and you can hear the sound of debris falling, but some of the tiles from the roof clattering down and breaking on the ground. Yeah, there is now a gaping hole in front of Tan's noodles. All right.
Wasn't it described to us as a hole in the wall kind of place?
It sure was, and now that is literal. It is quite literal now. So yeah, that I think because there was no evade and observe taking place here. So I think actually what is going to be happening is the scorpion bees, they seeing the huge entrance now made in the wall, they begin sort of backing towards it, and you can see as Mord and Sai, the Earth and Firebender respectively, begin just sort of sending a bunch of chunks of the wall basically that have collapsed in, and bursts of fire, sort of just basically trying to keep the chi blockers from cutting off your escape and trying to push them back a little bit, which I believe brings us to the end of the exchange. So at this point, what is taking place? So you're still in the midst of danger, but there's no immediate aggressive action being taken unless any of you take that. So what are y'all doing?
Ezra's going to do an evade and observe action with a bolster for Tirza.
Great. All right.
And Tirza is going to mechanically attempt the same move they did earlier. If what they do is slowly whittle down this chi blocker, trying to get them to leave, that's a win in their book.
Very
it is
Airbender.
as much glider and aerial as it is any kind of wind.
Yes.
Their instrument in this case is their own movement.
Excellent. Very Airbender. I love it. Niho.
I think for the first time, Niho's going to defend and maneuver with a Caesar position and try to kind of stand as a wall between the chi blockers and then the other team.
Amazing. Okay. In that case, go ahead. Remy, you will resolve yours first since you are doing the defend and maneuver. Let's go. What you got?
Niho's going to try to it's not it's kind of make the terrain messy, just shoot up a bunch of stone from the floor so that kind of stone bars that the chi blockers can't get between, because they're still trying to keep move us around and keep us in a position, so there's still some distance between us. So in that place, just kind of create blockades and keep
I
us
picture
there.
a cool animation sequence of them rising up from the ground and the chi blockers sort of dodging in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to keep them
Absolutely. That very anime camera as it's coming towards them as they're rushing. They're dodging out of the. Yeah, I love that.
So they can have to mark one if they want to block this technique. They have to mark 1 fatigue.
Yes. And that, as chi blockers are very tend to be very like agile. Their style of fighting being one of just like being able to get in under people's defenses quickly and just sort of vanish from the engagement. That is exactly what they're going to attempt to do here. But yeah, they are certainly getting themselves whittled down a bit. As they literally like as Xander described, basically like as there's like sort of narrow pillars of rock are just sort of coming up, twirling and dodging around them as they're trying to sort of stay out, not able to get much closer to you, but not losing any ground either. And let's see, that was the only defend and maneuver, correct? That was the. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. You were doing the same thing. So go ahead, Tirza, and I'd say this time we'll go ahead and I'm gonna require a roll on this one. And this one, I think, will definitely be a skills and training situation. Like
Yeah. There's a focus roll.
absolutely.
Miss.
If it's out of order, I guess I should have done it on the past one that would bolster this roll now. But if I wanted to do something on my turn that would bolster Tirza's roll for this, would I be able to do that like concurrently, or does it have to go in the order?
Right. We noticed this when we were bending, that the
Right,
bolster is after anything that would use it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's right. I do remember this. Okay. And I remember at the time I was like, okay, I think I've got some ideas as to how to like approach that, and now they're gone.
But I'll let you know that my intention right now is to add to this exact roll to help Tirza sort of escape.
Right. You know what I'm gonna do then? What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna allow it to count here.
Okay.
And then kind of going forward, now that we're kind of like settling into this sort of rhythm, we can kind of like think about that. And it is a little weird, but yeah. Okay. So.
So in that case, to bolster this, Ezra sees Tirza trying to leave with Kisima and was like, I probably shouldn't be throwing fire so close to Tirza's glider, but reflects on some training that they've done together and utilizes this heat from the stove and starts bending down to the floor to create thermals. And so it's just heat of rising air to precisely control this getaway.
I love that.
Xander, you're so smart and cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. So, yeah. So okay, mechanically, how this affects Tirza, and it gives you how.
So yeah, bolster, aid, or impede a nearby character, inflicting appropriate status. So for this one, I would want to add like a +1 or 2 to the roll for escaping,
We'll
or control of the glider.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and say this is a +1 situation that we've got going on here. So, Sam, go ahead and, if you have not already, go ahead and give me that roll.
Oh, it's story dice.
Yep, those are snake eyes, y'all.
Yikes!
Whoa, okay.
That is mechanically unsalvageable because I have +2 focus. I'm getting this +1, and
it's still a 5.
Yeah, we're not even close. There's not even a like, well, if we kind of fudge a circumstance, but no.
Okay.
We're hopeless.
So,
It's great.
Here's what I'm gonna say for this. So, like, what I think is kind of cool is like watching Ezra with this open flame, basically this sort of like open jet. Then something's like, oh wait, and then pulls it down, and it just like snuffs. But then like the heat goes into the floor and begins pushing up. But Sam.
Can I mark afraid?
Yeah. I think that
My glider just caught on fire, and that's a like. So you know how I get like when anyone's like near my chair and I'm just like, it's this clench, that but multiplied by fire.
Yeah. So mechanically, like Tirza has marked a condition, but Sam, tell me, like, what is this? What actually happens?
So it's a move that we've rehearsed a bunch to the point that in normal practice, like we work together all the time, it would not even occur to me to feel freaked out by this. It's almost muscle memory. But the fire comes from the stove, and by some quirk of the angle, it comes in the same way that Size did out on the arena, and that forces me almost into my conscious brain, which if you are doing a sport, if you are bending that, if you are moving by instinct, that's not where you want to be.
Right.
And so it's the wait, how do I move things? Conscious recognition that they rise but don't use the differential for momentum, and so it's just the heat freezes them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And I will say we haven't used this mechanic a whole lot, but Ezra's balance is between action and forgiveness. And so seeing his actions directly cause something like this, I think would cause a shift in Ezra's balance.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. In this case, so as this sort of goes, and Tirza is like in their head, fully in their head at this point. The chi blockers are gonna go with their advance and attack. They're taking their strikes here. As one of them, the one in the kitchen, seeing like Tirza sort of like makes it, you watch them make a snap decision as they leap up onto kind of the counter that's in between where you are over at the stove, and just fully vault over it, landing in front of you, and then just sends like a series of jabs towards you. So what I'm going to say here is this is going to be another pressure situation, and in this case, I'm going to say they're going to mark a technique that you can't use. In this case, it's going to be the bolster.
Okay.
Yeah. And in the front, meanwhile, the chi blockers still up there, sliding towards you, Niho, are going to also going to strike. Only like 2 of them come at you. The others are still sort of trying to stay towards the outside to contain everyone else. And I'm gonna have you in this case go ahead and can I have you? Ooh, what do I want to do here? I think what I'm gonna have you do here is I'm gonna have you just go ahead and mark a fatigue down as they come in and just begin to just assail you. Like, none of their blows actually land, but they are definitely forcing you to sort of maneuver in a way just to sort of stay out of the range, because you've probably seen or at least heard of what chi blockers are capable of. And actually you did see them take down one of the patrons who tried to stand in their way when they came in. So you know that if that happens, it's over. So you're kind of forced into that position of having to dodge and weave away from them. Ezra had the evade and observe, which we kind of resolved already. I do think that... So here's what's going to happen. I'm having the Scorpion Bees kind of all go simultaneously as they're working as a team here. And essentially what happens is...
What's that like? Just kidding.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
You watch as Koi, the Waterbender, who had like pulled all the kind of water from teacups around, brings her arms down as all that water goes straight into the ground at the exact same moment that Mord uses sort of the earth to sort of create just a muddy mess, which Sai then takes basically like the rest of like the moisture that's still falling and just creates like a steam curtain, essentially using this hinder move here. Yeah, I'm gonna say that basically all the chi blockers in this situation are either like have their feet fully in the mud or are just completely disoriented by the steam curtain that's around. So let's go ahead, and that does bring us to the end of that particular exchange. So at this point, what are all of you doing? You can
Ezra?
you can recommit to the engagement, or you could try to do something else at this point.
Ezra is facing off against this chi blocker and is going to defend and maneuver with seize a position. And I'm going to use a special move that Ezra has in the Idealist playbook of Can't Knock Me Down. And so whenever you're engaged in combat with superior opposition and openly refuse to back down or flee, roll with harmony for the rest of the battle whenever you defend and maneuver.
Nice. All right. And then Remy, Sam.
Exciting. This is a hard thing.
Having rolled terribly just now, I am strongly tempted to do anything that I would be good at. Nonetheless, I will attack because someone going at Ezra makes me really mad.
Fair. All right. Sounds good.
I think I'm gonna use another move from the Hammer's playbook now. It's called Fueled by Anger. I'm gonna mark being angry because this is a really annoying situation. These chi blockers are just really pissing me off now. And so when I mark angry I can use an additional basic or master technique when I advance an attack. So
all right. So
I'm going to just do 2 strikes on any chi blockers that are nearby, probably the 2 that are closest to where I'm at.
Great. Okay, so we'll start with, we've got the defend and maneuver, which I believe is Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you are seizing a position. Is that what you said? Okay.
Nope.
Oh
well,
no, you're using
yeah,
one of your things. Yeah.
Can't knock me down, but I'm just using a defend. I'm using retaliate. So the open flame of the stove is still nearby Ezra, and what we see happening is Ezra is pulling that flame into his body, and you can see that, like he does, he starts to glow with that energy. And anytime, steel yourself for their blows. Each time a float inflicts fatigue, a condition, or shifts your balance, they take a fatigue. So he's readying himself and he's glowing. If they strike or hit him, they take a fatigue.
Excellent. Okay. Cool. Then awesome. Cool. That's fantastic. And remind you, that's a thing that just happens, right? There's no that roll. And
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
It's called retaliate. That's
Perfect.
the move.
Right. Okay. Great. So we have some advance and attack that is happening next, I believe. Is that correct? All right. You're both doing that this turn around, right? Okay. We'll go ahead and resolve again, still room by room. So Tirza, what are you doing?
Yes, please do the what? Like, structurally, the failure before the massive success. Yes, we understand this. Because the truth is, like, they're an enabler. They wish they were Niho, but they aren't. They are not the star forward, and so they are coming up. If they're facing Ezra now, they have the literal drop on these people. And they're flying over and they're like, well, I see people like bend into someone here. Niho can hit them. And then they dive bomb. They death from above and hit them with the glider.
Incredible. This is absolutely like this is that focus that would be your what do you
tragically because this is an advance and attack, I roll with passion.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't.
Well,
I'm not the star forward, but also this isn't a legal bending move.
That's true.
Okay. Yes! Ah! I rolled a 6 and a 2, and my passion is -1, but that means it's still a 7.
Nice.
Incredible. Okay.
That is the skin of my teeth that just scraped if my mic picked that up.
Amazing. And you have does afraid impact this at all?
No, it does not. That impacts my ability to intimidate or call someone
Right.
out.
Okay, great.
Because there's, when you are afraid, it's fight or flight, and I guess today that's the way Tirza broke.
Fair. All right. Great. So yeah, you just fully dive bomb. What does this look like? How does this play out here?
Oh, it's not elegant, because I've gotten into a lot of fights like this just in my life. I haven't won. So as Ezra's leaning back and this chi blocker is advancing, Tirza looms and ends up being a combination of tackle onto the shoulders while the glider just runs into the middle of this guy's back. So it is effectively a tumble. They've fully committed. And that's why these fights were usually lost growing up. But if anything is going to throw someone very graceful off of their balance, I mean...
Yeah. So here's basically how this goes. Essentially, as you strike into this chi blocker's back, they just sort of take several involuntary steps forward to try to get their footing under them and like brace themselves on the first thing that they can. That unfortunately happens to be the stove that's nearby.
Yes!
And you see as he just grabs it, there's this and you can see as like the hand comes up with like some of the glove burned away from it. You can see like some pretty, Ezra would note, these are some pretty nasty burns that they're gonna have to deal with eventually, but like you see the hand comes up and you can fully see through like the charred remnants of the glove on the palm. You can see those burns. It's not pretty. Yeah. So yes, absolutely. That's I think it's fair to say in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and no, I'm just gonna mark it as fatigue. Yep. So yeah.
So I think on a 7 to 9, and Niho, you have hit a lot more people than I. I'm marking 1 and you're marking 2.
I believe so. Hold on.
Mark 1 fatigue to choose to hammer them with your blows, forcing them to mark 2 fatigue, or strike where they're weak, inflicting a condition, versus the like strike a foe and reach, forcing them to mark 2 fatigue or a condition.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, so do you have a preference about fatigue or condition, or?
I'm fatigue, because they already had to chase after me a little bit,
Gotcha.
so they've already marked a little bit.
Yes. So the fun thing about that is that, so in that case, then this is how this plays out. So when they recoil back from that with their hand up, some of that kind of residual air current that sort of follows Tirza knocks some of the hanging like pots and pans and things like that come down, and as they're rearing back, they go back just under one of the pots that comes down right on the head, and they just go just down to the ground. Just fully down.
I like that we like accidentally made our way into effectiveness.
Yeah.
Go Pygmy Panthers!
Yeah. Pumas.
I'm like the announcer.
Yeah.
It got into your brain.
Kisama's gonna be so mad at me when she wakes up.
No one tell her.
There's absolutely a like sort of like half reproachful, half hurt glare from Pickles. There's like,
Oh.
all right, let's go then to the front of house with Niho. What are you doing?
Niho kind of has been pretty composed, pretty like, I'm gonna just smash, and now like she is angry. She is ready to she doesn't care about it. She destroyed the half the shop already. She doesn't care about it anymore. So she is going to like throw some heavy blows at like the chi blockers near her using like, I guess like, but also trying to like throw them, like seeing how they moved around like the pillars, like throw them off. So pretending to throw like a punch at one of them, but actually then a fist of stone comes from the side to get them like in their blind spot.
Incredible. All right.
And I'm doing this twice. I'm going hard on it.
Yeah. So there's the two that are like basically engaged with you, who are the two that have already gotten past what is essentially a moat of just really thick mud. So they're the ones who are kind of currently engulfed in the steam curtain. So are those the ones that you're going for right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So great. Go ahead and give me that roll. That roll.
Yeehaw. I can do math. Hang on. 9 for my first one.
Yeah.
All right.
And 11 for my second one.
Okay. So yeah, absolutely. Both of the Remy, tell me how these two chi blockers go down.
So Niho is like trying to has dough in a cup and has been trying to protect it, keep like
Hey, watch
safe
it. Oh,
this whole
wait,
time.
look out.
And so she's been trying to be like careful about it, but now it's like just like clamps her hand down on the top of this cup, doesn't matter, and then just like kind of with like her whole body weight like stomps on the floor, and then just like spikes and like blunt force like pillars of stone being thrown from just wild directions come at like these chi blockers in two opposite ways that they weren't expecting. They go flying into that steam.
Yeah, so like literally one of them comes up from the ground, catches one of them in the chest, while the other one comes like horizontally, sort of sending them to like a spin, which then hits the other one at the exact same moment that like one comes from underneath, sending them up and into that one, and they both just sort of collapse down, like fully, just like one of them clearly like trying to get, like having the breath knocked out of them. You can hear them like kind of like trying to get that breath back, and the other one just completely unconscious.
Nice.
Incredible. The other two, I'm gonna say that is essentially where they're that's pretty rough. The other two are just struggling in that mud, and they're like unable to basically fully extricate themselves from that due to the conditions imposed upon them. So they don't get to do anything this time around. They're just trying to like get themselves out. All right. The scorpion bees are still committing to their they're not commit as in the move, but committing to basically their defensive sort of thing here, as they're keeping up with this hindrance basically. Yeah, fully just like once again water comes back down, like just expanding out that sort of mud pit, the steam staying in place. So that brings us back to the beginning, which currently the two of you in the back are no longer engaged with anyone.
I love that Niho like has taken out 3 chi blockers, and Ezra, Kisima, and Tirza have accidentally managed to take one out.
Definitely meant to take him out.
Yeah.
And I did.
Keeping engaged, Ezra is going to move over to the door in between, and seize a position with a defended maneuver, and will also be shouting to Tirza like, "Get Kisima out of here!"
And leave both of you?
We got it.
All right. Go get him. And Tirza will seize a position to escape the scene.
Excellent. All right. Sam, real quick, sorry, I'll get to you in a second, Remy. But
Okay.
real quick, remind me which playbook are you using again?
The bold.
The bold. That's what I thought. Okay, cool.
That's why I have a best friend.
Yeah, excellent. Great. Okay, just checking. Yeah, Remy, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna still technically being engaged also, but use a bolster, so an evade and observe.
Okay, awesome. So then we'll start this one with Ezra seizing a position.
Hmm.
So you're just kind of moving up. What exactly is Ezra doing?
Ezra is moving into the doorway between the back room and the front room, which everybody, the Scorpion Bees and Niho, have been engaged, and is sort of protecting the back entrance and exit for Tirza to leave with Kisima. So
Great.
Ezra he can use the move too of what was it? Seizing the position, can't knock me down, but there isn't really an opponent that's there.
Right. Okay. Cool. So yeah, you kind of burst into a wildly changed.
It's like what's good? Yeah, expecting it to be the normal restaurant with people have evacuated from, and it's like the scene from Community where like everything's on fire and I'm holding pizza.
Yeah, 100%. It looks like the. It genuinely looks like some of the stories from Republic City years back when like during the Kuvira's invasion. Like it
Sure.
looks like some of those scenes where it just completely bombed out front of restaurant. Like it's bad.
Neo, are you okay?
You can kind of like vaguely see sort of shapes sort of silhouetted in this fog curtain that's in the steam curtain that's there is the kind of like the lights from the street light outside are sort of casting shadows against the fog into the restaurant. You can kind of see the movements of this. Yeah, it's chaos. The few patrons who didn't make it out are like huddled in a corner basically like it's yeah.
If I can get eye contact with them, then I'll try to usher them over to get them out through the back door.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, for sure. You can see this. They look at you and like look at each other, and they just start like kind of like crawling towards you, like, and as they reach you, they kind of stand up and sort of slip through the back door. One of them looks at you and goes, "Thank you," and just
Get to safety.
Yeah, they rush back through the kitchen. Next we have any. Tirza, you're going. Great.
Yeah, I think I'm not hindered really for this one, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see like Pickles basically like out in front of you, like leaps out into the alleyway and just sort of like looks around, sort of very alert. And you can see as you follow in, Pickles leaps up and just kind of begins just sort of leaping from crates and like dumpsters in the back, just leaping around, following you out into the alley, into the night.
Pygmy Puma parkour.
Exactly. Exactly. I believe we don't have any advance in attack at this moment because the chi blockers are stuck. So, Niho, that'll bring us to you, right? You're in evade and observe.
I'm bolstering technically using earthbending like to kind of like do like the kind of like drop a weight on like a seesaw and like it throws something back. I'm doing that to like kind of the floor underneath all of the scorpion beasts to get them out to stop them being engaged with the fight.
Yeah.
Like launching them.
Yeah, basically like get the heck out of here. Don't be stupid.
Just sort of like this gentle wave of earth just sort of like goes up and like pushes them out of the building out onto the street. As they basically go involuntarily earth surfing. Yeah, you can kind of see as the steam is clearing, you can see that Ezra has sort of pushed back into the main room. You kind of like make eye contact across the room as these chi blockers are like struggling in the mud. You can see one of them gets like one leg out.
Gotta go. We gotta go.
Yeah, we're out of here.
All right.
Okay.
So. Is this, am I interpreting this as y'all just booking it? Because you were basically free to do so at this point because there's nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ezra will see that sort of happening, but then will turn to leave with the other people, seeing that Niho is at least okay.
Gotcha. All right. And
Yeah.
Niho going out into the street through the Niho made entrance.
Yes.
Niho goes to the
Niho-
Niho door.
Yeah, the Niho door.
Excellent. So yeah, you Ezra kind of rushing behind everybody through the kitchens. You can see that a couple of the people who sort of went through have started kind of like are attempting to drag some of the people who are like unconscious on the floor out. Most of them just sort of left, but a couple of them have sort of stayed behind and are like starting to like drag some of these people out. And as you make your way through the kitchen, Niho, you back out into the street as the chi blockers are still struggling trying to get themselves out. You can see that they are. It's not going to take them too much longer, but you back out where the scorpion bees are, and as you reach where they are, Mord just slams a foot into the ground, and all of you get launched up onto like a nearby roof. Basically, you just fully. And yeah, you basically are now basically all of you are fully not engaged in the combat anymore.
We should get back to the stadium.
Yeah, I'll say just a few minutes go by as you all kind of make your way out, kind of coming back together, eventually sort of rendezvousing the one place you're all going to be going.
Can I have a small incidental?
Yes, absolutely.
Of to clear my anger condition, I need to break something important, and I'd just like to absolutely destroy a street light passing by it on the roof. Just like punch it like this right off.
Crime.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Absolutely.
Disrespect your surroundings.
Wow, thank you for reminding me. I ran from danger or difficulty.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
That clears mine.
Yeah, it does. Excellent.
I mean, run, quote, quote, but hey, we'll take it.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah.
And I will say that even though we are going to like meet up at the stadium to be kind of secretive, Ezra is booking it right there to find the first like metal bending police officer that he can find, and is just like hurriedly, you need to get to Tan's Noodles. We were attacked.
The metal bender just sort of like looks at one of the beat cops that's nearby and just sort of turns back and says, "All right, sir, slow down. Just catch your breath."
So we were attacked by chi blockers at the restaurant, Dan's Noodles.
All right. He like turns and looks to the beat cop, who just sort of shrugs and says, "Well, your call. You want to go, or should I?" Says, I'll take this one. I'll get there faster.
Maybe with some urgency, just a suggestion. I don't know.
Tan's House of Noodles, you said, right?
Yeah.
All right. And you watch as he just sort of reaches back and shoots out the cables that like reach up to like kind of that network of cables that's up above, and he just launches himself up, sliding along, like landing on the cables and sliding along off in the direction of the Noodle House.
Eren Yeager.
Really though.
It's cool.
Yeah. All right. We'll cut to unless scenes anyone wants little like scenes or vignettes anyone wants to have before everybody kind of reconvenes.
Well, just I will at some point land a little bit nearby Ezra so he can check on Kisima, because you know stuff, right? I know your parents like technically know stuff, like, but you know lots of healing stuff too. She's gonna be all right, right? Like, yeah. She's not like blocked.
I can check. And
what happens
also,
when you block someone? Like, does that, like, is she gonna burp really loud again?
Probably. And Ezra will start to like examine, but also looks a bit distracted and just says, "Also, I'm sorry about back there. I'll try to control my fire more. I'm sorry."
Yo, we won.
I should be more careful. People will get hurt. People I care about.
I appreciate you saying, but I didn't. It scared me, that was all, and that wasn't because of you. You just did what we practiced.
Keep an eye out for Niho and anyone else, and then Ezra will get to healing.
And I'll take up a post.
Sure.
Oh,
I'm gonna say I'll have a skills and training real quick roll from Ezra.
Yeah.
This is not terribly outside of your wheelhouse, I don't think. So I think this should be.
Except.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
4. That's a 4.
Okay. Well.
Well, I haven't really tried to treat chi blocking at all. This is totally new.
Yeah.
But I'll attempt to. You can see Ezra. His traditional healing methods is to be like a fire cupping almost, where he's focusing his heat from his firebending into sort of the palms of his hands, and he's going over Kisima's body to try to free any knots or sense anything, but can probably sense the blocked chi, but doesn't know how to fix it.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was gonna say too. Is that you can feel where that flow of energy is just not happening. You can the thing is you can also feel that it is slowly starting to kind of dissipate on its own. Very slowly it's happening, but you're able to sort of feel that, but you aren't quite sure what to do to kind of alleviate that blockage.
She needs rest.
I would say at this point is when Niho and the scorpion bees arrive on the scene.
Okay. Do you want to what's the word?
Huddle up.
Yeah. What was that?
We got attacked.
For what reason? What did we do? I mean,
Were they after us or were they after the noodles?
We got those vouchers. I don't think they were after the noodles. They have a takeout menu.
You can see as
Ravone gave us those vouchers.
You think Ravone was behind the chi blockers then?
I mean, do you have other enemies who want to take you out? How, Ezra?
I didn't think so, but I
mean,
didn't even know Gravone wanted to take me out.
If we were to be taken out, sending us to a place and giving us the tools to go to that place is a kind of, what you do, I suppose.
Well,
What about you? Do y'all have any enemies? I look at the scorpion bees.
they all kind of look at each other, and Sai shrugs, says, "I mean, we beat a lot of people to get where we are, so maybe." I mean, I don't think any of them would do this, and it's probably not that easy to get access to chi blockers.
well, the last that we knew, Doe, you were mentioning something about the spirit world being disrupted around here and maybe affecting people's emotions. Maybe it's all connected somehow.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't feel anything particularly.
Oh, sorry. That's probably cold by now, and he'll go over and heat up the tea.
Okay. All right. Easy.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, though. Yeah. I mean, I didn't sense anything super weird about those chi blockers, but not like with some of the people around the arena. Not the same kind of thing, They were very much focused, but not unbalanced, if that makes any sense. So
We're up on top of a building. Can we go and look over the side, see if we see what he's talking about with those? Like, we're on the street now. Like, we're above the street. Can we look down and see if we see any of the people who are acting the way he's talking about?
Oh, so, yeah. I mean, looking around, I would say there's not that many people left here anymore. Basically, everybody went home. Like anyone that you see in the vicinity of the arena now, which is kind of like in where you are at this point, are probably like they look like either arena personnel or some of the police who are sticking around and sort of keeping a watch. So no is the answer to your question. You're not seeing too much out of the ordinary. Um, as you are kind of looking around, though, you can see that Koi looks over at Mord and says, "Mord, don't you have an apartment near here? It might be better if, I mean, if Kisima needs to rest, maybe we should go there and decide what we're gonna do next."
Rather than jumping into the den of possible danger, I think that would be a better solution.
Plus, they won't think to look for us there if we're really who they're after.
I wanted to jump into the den of possible danger.
We probably still
We'll
will
get
be.
there. Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry about that.
Tirza will slide Kisima back onto the glider.
All right. Yeah, the scorpion bees sort of lead the way, kind of down off of kind of their roofs nearby, and you make your way kind of to an apartment that's actually, it really is very close. You can literally see the arena from the apartment itself. It's sort of a
Is it
second story.
fancy?
Uh, it's I would say moderately fancy. It's not like upscale kind of anything like that, but it is, it's nice. It is nice. The kind of nice that you'd expect pro bending champions to have, right? And yeah, you step into the apartment, and immediately like more just sort of gestures, whoever has Kisima is gesturing over to like a couch nearby where he goes, I know we just had tea, but does anybody want some while we are waiting?
That sounds really nice right now, actually.
All right. Kind of goes, says, I only have Earl Grey though.
I would take the leaves you've picked off a tree outside, honestly, at this point.
I can do that if you want. I
No.
mean, that'd be okay.
No.
Okay. And he just like goes and starts setting about that task.
Are you all right?
Yeah. That was just unexpected.
Have you ever encountered chi blockers before?
No, but just the way they move is so infuriating that they can get around what you like. We pride ourselves on being unexpected, but then they don't. I can't even expect what someone with that kind of skill set would do. It's difficult.
Reminds me of Scrims last month. We could not remember what way that firebender was gonna come in on us. We all got knocked in. Oh god. Remember, I almost knocked my head on the back of the glider when I was falling in the water.
I got good at treating burns.
But we figured it out, right?
Eventually. But we had Kisima, and Ezra will look over. I don't know what to do for her.
Koi just sort of very shyly raises a hand and says, I have never been formally trained in healing techniques, but I have a little bit of basic knowledge of the paths that chi flows through the body. Maybe I could help you.
Yeah, we could work together.
Okay. Here, let's clear this out of the way. And she like moves over to like the table that's in front of the couch and starts kind of like moving it out of the way to like make room for the two of you.
Oh, good, Pickles thinks. You made a spot for me.
Immediately leaps up and curls.
Immediately, just the coziest and at Pickles, shove
no, I don't
over.
want to move him.
And actually, once we get Kisima on, Pickles will sort of like nestle in and look just absolutely the coziest in the whole wide world, and just and just like open an eye at Koi and Ezra, like, you wouldn't move something as cozy as this. I'm medicinal.
Legitimately, it's one of those situations where Koi like looks at Ezra like,
It'll help.
okay. And between the two of you, she basically starts kind of like directing your like as you kind of take your palms and start kind of like moving sort of over Kisima. Like Koi is directing you. It's like, okay, and here, and basically just starts kind of giving you basic direction for like attempting to kind of unblock the chi paths.
I imagine it's sort of like a focused Ouija board situation.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and we'll say, I actually think that as you're doing that, I actually think this is probably a really excellent time to go to break. And we'll give Liv a chance to get in here and get them set up. So we will be back in a few minutes, everybody. Stretch, move around, hydrate. We will be back shortly. We'll see you in just a little bit. Hi, everybody. We are back. Thank you so much for your patience. We had to get Liv settled in. Liv, welcome back.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And for because I promised them that you would, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your character real quick.
Oh, I thought I was so scared for some reason because I promised them you would was the most intimidating thing.
I promised them that you
anybody
would
said.
sing
your
a
assignment,
4-part apology for,
Yeah. Hi, I'm Liv. She, they pronouns. I am playing your trusty manager, Kisima. She, her pronouns. I'm real cute. I'm real smart. But you should definitely underestimate me. Makes it so much sweeter when you do.
Excellent. All right. So when we left off, the pygmy pumas and the scorpion bees were in Mord's apartment, directly overlooking kind of the arena, the pro bending arena, and Ezra and Koi, the waterbender from the scorpion bees, were working together to unblock the chi that had been and in Kisima that had been blocked by the chi blockers in the ambush at the tea house, the tea and noodle house. So we will come back in as Kisima. You are sort of slowly beginning to you regain consciousness first, and you see Ezra over you, as well as Koi, who is sort of directing his hands.
It's working.
Thanks. Thanks. Man, that's embarrassing. Oh, sorry,
She's back.
everybody.
She's
Glad
back.
you're okay.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Oh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, only a little bit embarrassing. Like, I'm supposed to come off like I'm utterly incapable of like fighting and protecting myself. Not that that's actually the case. I'm very capable, as are all of you. So that's embarrassing.
They caught us by surprise. You were very tough and you stood up for yourself.
Thanks.
You see as Koi is kind of looking and just looks at you and says, how's the feeling in your arm? Basically, yeah, like Kisima, you remember now. It's kind of like starting to come back to you. It's basically like the chi blocker getting in under your guard moving faster than you expected. First kind of paralyzing your arm and then going down the side of your body, down to your leg, which buckled under you, and then a last blow to your chest that just fully put you under. And yeah, you're slowly starting to get that sort of like pins and needles kind of feeling in your arm back now.
It'll be okay. It hurt. Not really much of a, well, I've never been in a fight with the chi blocker before, so, but I'll be okay.
New for a lot of us.
Yeah. How's everybody else?
Kick their butts.
What I like to
Absolutely.
hear.
What is the team status on insurance for property damage?
I'll talk to my dad.
And just looks around the side of Kisima at Niho like,
Niho's not looking. She's like kind of just like.
More like a noodle hut now.
Wait, what?
noodle
Huh?
cave.
Noodle mound.
Kisima looks at all of their faces. Well, actually, no. Ezra and Tirtha's face. Can't see Niho. Sighs. What did Niho do?
We can describe it to you in detail and everything on the way to the arena. We still have we have to go now, especially if someone sent them after us. Like,
Also,
they might know where you live, Mord.
Yeah.
I know that we have the permission from the police to go into the arena, but I did send some of them away to go and check on the house, the noodle house. So there may be an opening there if we needed a place to get in.
Good. Yeah. Permission's a word for it, but we're gonna go and we're gonna deal with it later. And like Kisima lifts herself up and is kind of like stretching her arms out, chesting them out, like, okay.
Noodle's copying you. Pickle's copying you.
Oh, dude, like kitty yoga.
Yup.
Yeah. This big, Kisima looked over and like copies Pickles. Big stretch.
And Pickles does big stretch and gets up into uppies.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll scoot Pickles up and look to the rest of the team. So, are we gonna head out?
Let's go.
Mord, you see, Mord is finishing with the
The
tea, and it was
tea.
like in the process of pouring it, and then just slowly sets it back on the stove.
bud.
And you see as Koi looks over at her two teammates, and then looks back at all of you and says, "If we're worried about getting in, Sai and Mord are really good at creating distractions."
Are you now? I mean, seeing what you guys did at the tea house, yeah, but
Okay, that'll be good. I'm pretty sneaky, so good distraction, and then I'll lead everybody else, and I think we'll be good.
We can always come in from the upper windows. And I just pat the glider.
Just be careful, you two. If they had chi blockers, who knows who else is working for them?
True.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sai just sort of like turns to Mord and just says, "What do you think, buddy? You think we can run one of our old moves?"
Because
And
they're boyfriends.
and Mord looks at Sai and just says, "Yeah, I think we can do that."
And then they kiss.
Oh, we're looking. Give them some
Oh, sorry.
privacy.
Then
I grab Ezra, I like yank him down. Speaking of kissing, did I miss anything? And I like look at Tirtha and Koi.
Not that I
Well,
saw.
So it's fascinating that you should say that because cut to just kind of like, I think as a glider should move smoothly through the air. One should not be able to scooch up on someone. And yet, that is the energy with which Tirtha approaches Koi to say thank you for taking care of Kisima. I don't know if we could have helped her without you.
Oh, no, that I'm sure Ezra would have been able to figure it out eventually. I You're welcome.
Are we still gonna be friends after all of this? I mean, we're on opposite teams and everything.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you want to be, because
I'm-
yeah.
Of course I do. I want to be like really good friends with a famous mover star who's also a cool bender and who's also really pretty.
Um, uh, just yeah, you see as there's this moment of like wait, what? And then just sort of like big like flush, and she goes, um,
Pickles, no. And Pickles is I think probably leaped off of your shoulder onto the counter for the tea, which as Pickles knows was intended for them.
Right.
Yes.
of course, yes.
And so they swoop off to avoid the whole thing from just spilling over. So they're like catching a pot, catching a cup, and then like with their elbow catching Pickles, who then just leans over and starts lapping the
Drinking.
tea like a
Yep.
little jerk.
Exactly. Yep. Um, with that, you as that chaos sort of subsides, you just hear, "Well, this is fun and everything, but we got stuff to do, I think, right?" And you see as Doe is just sort of sitting on the windowsill, literally just like legs, just sort of like little legs, just kicking as he's just sitting there, and he says, "We going or what?"
I'm ready.
Yep.
I
We
don't
should
take
go.
orders from anybody, but sure.
I just asked a simple question. I can once we're inside, I can help you kind of pinpoint the epicenter of the disturbance, and you can kind of we can do. I don't really know what we're gonna do actually. We'll figure it out when we get in there, I guess.
Cross that bridge when we get to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or fill in the moat.
Well,
Works for me. All right. And just kind of like looks over at you, Niho, and then you just sort of like jumps down off the windowsill, runs over to you, and just like starts like climbing up your leg.
It's like, lets it happen. Like,
Yeah. And just,
Kisima like walks through the fucking door. Spirits can fly.
yeah, he like settles himself on your shoulder and is like, "All right, I'm ready."
which shoulder? It's important.
Ooh, I think this is definitely like a right shoulder situation.
I don't know what it
Mm.
means, but it means something.
It doesn't mean anything, Ezra. Spirits, okay. People, as we're walking, people have this big idea about spirits and they mean this and they mean that. But in reality, they're just like
Like you
people.
and me.
Well, no, not
Oh.
like me,
Oh,
but people.
sure.
All right, so we'll cut to a little while later as you all are like back down on the street, making your way towards the arena, and as you're arriving, kind of in the square or immediately around it, Mord and Sai look, they kind of converge on Koi and like, "You sure you're good?" And she nods, says, "I think so. I think, yeah." And she kind of like glances over at the rest of you and she says, I'll come with you, and if that's all right."
Welcome to the team.
yeah.
He use your help.
Great.
Yeah, I can't waterbend, so.
Mord and Sai sort of nod, and they just sort of like they kind of the three of them can kind of converge and come in like heads together, sort of team huddle kind of thing. But they don't say anything. They just sort of like heads together, and then they break apart. And Mord and Sai start making their way around the other side of the arena. And as they're going at a certain point, you hear Mord's voice. "What do you mean I stepped on your toes in that last match? You were in the wrong zone." And they're just like start like the two of them just start like getting into it. You can see as like some of the police who are still sort of like in the vicinity of the arena like are looking in their direction, like watching the two of them go. And you can hear as they get further and further away from you, even like kind of out of earshot, they start like you can't hear what they're saying at a certain point, but you do hear the rising, like sort of escalating the fake conflict, and Koi just sort of smirks and looks back at the rest of you and says, "That'll buy us quite a bit of time. They're really good at that, especially if nobody stops them for long enough. They will just keep escalating. It's actually pretty impressive to watch."
That's
That's
amazing.
cute. Yeah.
All right, so how are we getting in?
What do we see?
So right now, I'm assuming you probably didn't approach directly from the front. So like you're not
We're
seeing
in
that
the
kind of
shadows.
yeah, you're looking you can see where that is, and that's probably roughly the direction that Mord and Sai took off in, is towards the front where there's that kind of big um like the kind of steps that lead up into the main entrance of the arena. You can see where there's still quite a bit of seems like the majority of police presence is around the front of the place. Although even now, it does seem like there's not as many of them as there were before. So right now, this feels like more of like they were there to sort of help kind of filter people out, and now that people are gone, they don't need as many people around, basically. Um, but where you're at right now, you can kind of see where there are lamps just from like lamp lights that from where you can see patrols around the outside, but around the sides of the place, but it doesn't look like anybody's paying super close attention.
If I do like a quick fly up and swoop, is there any entrance that just like it's mostly the front and then everything else is pretty scattered?
Mm-hmm.
Is there an entrance that just has a slightly higher concentration? Like the one
Oh,
they don't really
interesting.
want you to notice, it's not that much of a thing, but it's kind of totally a thing.
Gotcha. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Go ahead and I think this would be like an assess. Just give me a quick like
Yeah, that feels right.
yeah, because I think that yeah, definitely.
All right. So that's 9 plus it's harmony on assess. I know what I'm doing.
Honest, that's the situation. I don't think it's anything, but if it was,
Creativity.
okay. Wow.
Oh, so then that's
Oh, yeah.
a 10 and not a 9. That's better.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, you see where there like there's multiple entrances into this place, right? There's the main one where most of the like the crowds gather in from. There are sort of some there's a couple of side entrances where generally like the players will enter through, players and like arena staff, but there's also a loading dock for use
Right.
in like bringing in concessions, bringing in supplies for the arena, any kind of like maintenance stuff. Right now, the loading dock has a slightly higher concentration of being watched, and I will tell you right now that it's not by police.
Mhm.
It appears to be arena personnel, as they are wearing arena like the arena like uniform. However, being someone who hangs around the arena a lot for practices or just for the sake of being around like this this hobby that has basically like this is and this profession essentially that has basically given you like some it's basically been the focus of your time in Republic City. um you don't recognize most of them. They do
Yeah,
not
I
look
would know if
familiar.
it's like Steve
Yeah,
who
yeah.
That's
chased
not
me out of
Steve.
here, or Frank
Yeah.
who chased me out of here,
Exactly. This
or
is
Bill
this...
who. Yep.
Yeah, no, this
And
doesn't...
that's the one that's near the office that Kisima
Mhm.
yoinked some papers out of, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I will swoop doop back and report my findings.
Cool. So yeah, as Tirsa returns and exposits, y'all kind of like skulking in the shadows nearby in a nearby alley.
One of the areas that is now like less policed to try to get across from as an entrance, is there any way to get like in the actual building towards the moat?
Yeah, you could get in one of the doors that leads into like kind of the areas that are mostly for like players and like the teams and their coaches and all the like crews and whatnot. You can get to one of those. It is one of the places where you can see like patrols tend to be sort of, because it is an entrance and there aren't that many people patrolling. It is a place where they seem to be sort of keeping relatively local to, but you figure with the right timing you should be able to get in.
As Tirtsa's sort of gliding back to the group, Ezra's going to break off a little bit with a sort of nod to the rest. towards these street lamps. And a little bit further down, he's going to touch one of them and increase the fire on them to like sort of create a small diversion on that side as well.
Ooh.
Eventually making the lamp go out.
Yeah, okay, great. So I don't think I'm going to require any kind of roll for that. However, what I am going to require a roll here for is to remain undetected.
Yep.
So actually, I'm not sure what I would have you roll for that on this.
I would do an evade and observe, I guess.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and give me.
There's push your luck, isn't there? As a
Oh
move?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was about to say. Yeah, I think this is definitely a sort of a push your luck situation.
Do I roll a specific skill?
Yeah, that's on passion.
Yeah.
Passion. Copy that.
Unless you have another thing.
Nope. Okay, so 8.
Okay.
Oh, I needed a 10 plus.
Oh.
On a hit, you do it, but it costs you to scrape by.
Right. So
Well, that's 7 to 9, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on a 10 plus, like you
10
have
plus is
now
just-
it's a cost that
Gotcha.
you
yeah,
have to
10
deal
plus
with.
is just that
Perfect.
it like works. In spite of everything. So yeah, you sort of quietly make your way up to this lamp, and as you start kind of doing this, you are able to largely remain undetected. However, what happens is as you are going up to that, you can see that one of the patrols is starting to kind of turn and kind of make their way back in your direction.
Yeah.
And as that happens, you can kind of feel that like tension rising in you, but then it just keeps going. There's no ceiling.
Like
It
an
just-
emotional manipulation.
It almost, not quite. It doesn't feel like any kind of manipulation. It just feels like there's not a ceiling on your anxiety. Like it goes up, but then it goes past well beyond where you think it needs to be. I am gonna have you on this. I am gonna make you mark and condition here, and that is the fear condition.
Yes.
Yep.
Great. But having sort of distracted and cleared the way of the localization guards or localized guards, for the rest of the group to move forward.
Great. So as Tirza explains all of this to you, you watch as Ezra successfully manages to draw one of the patrols away from this sort of side entrance, leaving it pretty clear for the rest of you to get in.
Right, let's move.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. You push ahead, and as you reach the entrance and dart inside. Ezra, I assume, already kind of being there at the door as you get in, closing the door behind you, and you find yourselves in the kind of back corridors of the arena.
While inside, Ezra will do his fire cupping to light the way with his hand.
Amazing.
What a king.
Hee hee. I'm a lamp.
Lumiere.
So, you all push your way inside, begin sort of moving through. Koi looks around and just sort of says, "So, any idea where we start?"
The
Neho,
moat?
can you feel like anything? Like, I don't know, super subtle? It's not like there's a big distracting bending match in here now.
Yeah, if I do an assess the situation, can I feel
Yeah.
the ground?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me an assess the situation roll here.
All right.
Mhm.
That's rolling with creativity.
Neho's good at punching things. Let's all remember.
That's a 6.
Extraordinary.
I'm gonna pull the most the most fucked up helping ever. As like Neho is like sitting here like doing their like, you know, commune with the earth. Kisima's just gonna prop a hand on a hip and like glare at Doe. What are you good for then?
Oh,
Aren't you supposed to be helping?
You're right. I got very distracted there for a second because I mean, I'm sorry. I just really like fire. his like eyes are like staring at like the flame that's just like, I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. Here. Go in, and like basically he like directs you. And I'll say that that's enough to give you, like, you said you got a 6, right? I think that's enough
Yeah,
to push you
+1.
over into the the plus
Okay.
1 into a 7 basically. As you like you basically like kind of stomp, kind of like feeling out and see if there's anything, and you're getting nothing, and then Doe goes, oh no, over there, try over there, and like you're gonna go do the same, pull the same thing over there. The whole time Doe is sort of like side-eyeing Kisima, like this very like kind of shifty eyes kind of thing. You however, so as you get there, let's see. Let's go first to the questions and see if any of them are relevant here, and if not, then we can sort of like fudge that a little bit.
I think probably maybe the most appropriate question is what should I be on the lookout for?
Okay.
Just anything that maybe like kind of in moving in this direction, anything kind of out of the ordinary, something that stands out.
Sounds good. So we'll just say that
Secret
like
passage.
the way this will go is that you're doing this sort of stopping and feeling as you move, and kind of moving in the direction that that Doe is pointing, and at one point you reach just sort of like an area where the kind of corridor widens out slightly, and you've got like lockers and stuff like that for the for like some of the crew, where they keep like arena uniforms and things like that, where the refs keep their uniforms and all that kind of stuff. As you are in that area, you can feel, you've kind of been feeling the very consistent like solidness of the walls as you are walking past, occasionally feeling the pockets behind them as you pass rooms, and as you reach kind of draw up level with the lockers, you very suddenly feel a pocket where there shouldn't be one. It's very small. You almost miss. You walk right past it, and then you come back. It's not a room, that much you can tell. It's just a place where there's just the solidity of the walls just seem to stop for a second and then continue.
Can we all bump into Niho? Like,
Yeah.
Niho stops and comes back, and it's like a train.
Yeah.
Niho.
Hang on. I'm getting something. Is gonna go to that locker. Is it does it have a lock on it? Is it unlocked?
The lockers here all do have like combination locks on them.
Cool. I'm just gonna grab the door, like, and tear it off.
So cool.
I would like to register my appreciation for Niho.
You're here.
I am going to have you push your luck on this one for
Okay.
reasons
Oh,
that,
yeah,
will be,
that's
that may
fair.
become apparent.
Okay, cool.
Total stealth.
That's a 12.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So Neo just goes up to the lockers. You just sort of like grab one and just very silently just sort of yank up, and you can hear very slightly, you can feel that kind of like disconnect as the locker just fully pulls off of the hinges that are frankly probably in no way up to code. As you like pull that away, you're surprised to find that it's not just the one locker that comes with it. It's actually like a couple of the doors to either side of it that all appear to be one solid piece. As you remove that and you sort of set it aside, instead of finding 3 lockers, you find what is essentially just a single passageway with stairs leading immediately down.
Well done.
There's something.
I will also offer you this particular piece of information, is that the direction that you have been going actually does put, like, these lockers where you're at right now, actually does put you relatively close to the loading dock.
Ah.
Well, a creepy dark hole in the wall can't be the worst direction to move in.
We all love a secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
Come on.
Yeah.
Ezra's gonna do one peek around. Like, we, even though it was very quiet, we had been like causing some noise. So just one more look before we descend to see if we see anyone.
Yeah, sure. Immediately in your vicinity, in the hallway, you can hear voices, but they're sort of distant and muffled. Like probably a couple of rooms away from where you are. Which is why it's very good that Niho was so quiet with the removal of those of that door. But yeah, you can hear, but you don't see anyone coming. You don't hear approaching footsteps or anything like that. So like currently where you're at in the corridor before entering this passageway, it's pretty deserted at the moment.
Gotcha.
As far as the passageway goes, there's no way to really like assess that from
Like
where you
down
are
the
because it just
stairs.
goes directly down.
Is there a door that I could shut that like closes us in, like to the locker room or whatever?
There is, but it is currently next to the lockers, completely detached from the
With
Yeah.
gotcha.
You
Okay.
can attempt to just sort of like bring it in front of the lockers and sort of lean it there if you want
That's
to,
fine.
but yeah.
Oh.
Weld it.
I could weld it,
It's
but then
true.
we're in.
Well, like, Niho can like probably take it back and move the lockers back into place.
So we'll
to
all
the
get
room.
like in the stairway and then put the door back.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And like you don't need to like fully like just sort of weld the whole thing or anything. Like you could
Just
do like a
enough.
little tiny piece that'll just keep it from
Keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
More like
easy enough to do.
soldering.
Yeah, exactly. More like soldering. Easy enough to do. But yeah, you all begin descending into the mysterious secret tunnel.
Hey.
It goes down actually a lot further than you kind of expected initially. Probably in total, you guess that by the time you reach the bottom, where there is not a door or even another corridor, it just sort of opens out into a kind of a wide cavern. You guess that you've probably descended easily 50 feet, probably more though.
So we're
below.
definitely below like where the moat would be.
Yes, definitely. But you find yourself in this this wide cavern that is, in spite of its size, rather well lit. With you can see that there are cables that sort of run along the I don't know cables that run along the walls that connect at lamps that are sort of lighting the perimeter of this place. There all around the area you can see like piles of what looks like equipment, like steel girders and like all kinds of construction equipment. For the most part, looks like it's extra, and you can see what it has been, what has been used for, because there is sort of a superstructure in front of you in the cavern itself.
Here we go.
Some of it is bracing the cavern, and some of it actually is creating a structure in the center that you're not even entirely sure. It doesn't look like a building, but it does look almost like a network, like almost web-like in its construction, of a combination of these sort of some kind of brighter metallic pieces that are a lot thinner than the girders that are used to sort of shore up the walls, and as well as cables that definitely, Kisima, if you remember when you looked at the manifest of stuff that came in, 100% these are those cables that you saw on that manifest. Definitely far more than what would ever be needed by the arena, but whatever this is, apparently that's what was necessary. You know where those cables went.
Okay. Good to know. One mystery solved.
But what is it though?
From where you're at, by the way, you are kind of on a ledge that sort of overlooks a sort of the cavern, which kind of descends another probably 30 feet or so below you. So from where you're at, you can see that there is movement, there is activity down there, there are people down there, but they are a ways away from you and don't seem to have registered that you have arrived in this immediate area.
Ezra will snuff out the flame, the light.
You're describing what seems intuitively like a fairly acoustically live space. Can we hear what they're saying if we kind of maybe Scooby stack over the ledge?
Yeah. So you yeah, you listening for a moment, the acoustics of this cavern are such that occasionally like you'll have a lot of those like echo cancellation kind of things happening, so you'll hear that they are speaking, but like the actual words are not clear. But you do occasionally hear catch snippets of the conversation. But one exchange in particular draws your attention as you see a couple of the people down below approaching. These two, you can see they are very clearly in jumpsuits with the Gravone logo on them, and you can see that the two of them are speaking, and one of them just says, "Look, I've examined every angle of the thing, and it's got nothing to do with the mechanics are sound. That much is true. If Gravone wants this thing up and running by tomorrow evening's match, I don't know how we're gonna get that to happen. We got to figure this out. Whatever it is, it's got to do with that latest shipment that we brought in, because it was working perfectly fine before this point." The other voice comes in and saying something at first that you can't quite hear, and then continues a little bit louder. Just, "Okay, fine. Then we need to figure this out. If it's not to do with the mechanics, then there's only one thing that could really be part of. I'm gonna have to go back and look over the calculations, but I think we're narrowing it down. We should be able to get this up and running." As that is happening, both of them, their conversation is cut off by a sound that the best way to describe it is almost like it is almost whale-like in the like when you hear kind of the keening of whales underwater, like almost that sort of sound, but directionless. It seems to just sort of be coming from the room itself. And as it does, you can feel the whole room kind of begin to shake just a little bit. And Niho, you absolutely recognize the same kind of tremor that you felt during the match.
This is it. This is the thing.
What's that noise?
You hear Doe say, "I don't believe it. That's a spirit."
A spirit?
Yeah,
Do you think it's trapped in there?
Captured it?
I don't know. But I don't know. I feel weird. I feel really weird.
Weird like how?
I don't know. Like I'm not quite here. I don't know.
How can we stop this machine?
We don't even know what it really does. I mean, if we look at all the evidence that we have in front of us, yeah, we can basically make a hypothesis that there is some kind of, it's being used to maybe hold or trap a spirit that is therefore impacting everybody's emotional feelings, or maybe the spirits of everyone around us, which is why Doe is probably freaking out. But like I said, that's just a hypothesis. I really don't know.
Okay, so let's get down there, see if there's a spirit in there or like some kind of spirit we need to help. And if there is, we get him out. If there isn't, or once there isn't, Niho.
Doe, thank you so much for helping us, but you don't have to get closer if it hurts you. Maybe if you wanted to stay here, Koi could look after you.
Koi looks at Doe, and Doe says, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I meant to go in. I was planning on going in all the way, but, yeah, I don't know." Koi
You need to
looks
take care of yourself.
Hey, no shame in the bench. Some days you need it.
Okay, then while we're staying here, I'll keep a watch and make sure nobody comes in this way, and if they do, I'll try to warn you.
Be safe.
You too.
I go.
Yeah. Hmm?
I go.
Yeah, it looks for a moment like to those of you who are still there watching. It looked like Koi was about to say more, and then Tirza just gone. Um,
Niho pats Koi on the shoulder and then follows after Tirza.
Ezra takes a moment with Kisima as they're moving along too, sort of quietly. How are you feeling? If it comes down to a fight, do you think you'll be okay?
I'll be fine.
No, it was pretty scary.
It was, but also very frustrating.
Okay.
She like cracks her knuckles as they will go.
Amazing. All right. So, as you all kind of reach kind of one of the edges of this sort of raised area that you were on, as you kind of reach to the side, you can see that it starts immediately going into a grade that leads down to the lower part. It appears to be nobody appears to be watching it. It seems like the security that they were relying on was that outside of the arena and the secrecy of the passage leading down here. Mostly as you make your way down around this this sort of curving downward grade, you can kind of see where now what looks like mostly just a handful of workers around the base of this cage-like structure that you see ahead of you.
So it is cage-like?
It is a little bit, yeah, almost. It does kind of look a bit like almost like a parabolic net-like structure.
Mhm.
What's interesting about it is it doesn't look like it has from where you're. It doesn't look like it closes at the bottom. It literally just looks like almost like a just
Dome?
almost dome, like kind of coming down and anchoring at various points like a spider web would.
Oh, okay, but it's not like actually fixed, connected to the ground, except for those like few points.
It's fixed to some of the steel girders that are sort of shoring up
Okay.
the side of the cavern.
Okay.
Yeah, you do see kind of at the far end there is also sort of a larger machine that almost looks like a generator, but like not quite. It doesn't have any of the like coils on it that a generator would have. If anything, I would say that it looks like a very like almost like something that you would see in like a factory or something like that. But yeah, and there are numerous cables, some of those sort of large, thick cables running from the structure down to that machinery.
And then how populated is it with people working? Is it, you said there were workers, but is it
Yeah,
like
just
3
a
or
handful
4?
of them.
Or
You can see
okay.
there's maybe like 7 at most that you
Okay.
can see. However, I will also say this: as you reach the bottom, it gives you sort of better perspective into the cavern itself, and as you kind of start creeping forward, you do note that in this room, kind of at the far end near that strange machinery, Gravone himself is standing there talking with someone, one of the workers.
Monologuing.
Furthermore, you also now see that kind of in the center on the floor, in the center of this structure on the floor, immediately under the point at the top, there is actually an actual sort of cylindrical cage that is sort of in the center, and inside it you can see through one of the transparent panels in the side of it. There is something inside that is moving, sort of swirling around on the inside.
What should we do?
How far up is the like where what scale?
So the structure itself is probably it literally goes ground to ceiling on this in this cavern. It probably stops just about 5 feet shy of the top. So that basically brings it to a total of probably about I'd say maybe 40 or 30 to 40 feet high. It's big. The cage is probably just a little over 10 feet tall, and it's like on the ground in the immediately underneath the center of the thing, underneath the kind of the apex of the structure.
And what's the like we're dealing mostly with, I assume, like work lights,
Yeah.
like little bit of like work light balance.
Yeah.
In like select areas, but like probably a lot of shadow to work with as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
The immediate work area around the structure itself is lit pretty well, but around the outside, it's just sort of it's a lot spottier.
Seems like a good place to sneak around.
All right, so we need to like find the control mechanism to like open up the cage.
There's got to be a spirit in there, right?
Gotta
I would,
be.
I would put money on it.
Kisima,
Yes.
how do we find the control mechanism for the cage?
Well, despite the fact that, yes, it's probably going to be easier for us to sneak around in the dark, it would also make sense that this control mechanism is probably central and well lit. Probably not that many people working on it currently, since it's probably one of the first things that they actually built, but still central. So I think our best bet is to, gosh, I guess try to scope it out. I mean, we can start kind of close to where Gravone is. It makes sense. That's a good place to start, but it is also kind of a dangerous one.
On it. Scoping. And Tirza is gonna like back out into the shadow and is going to be hugging the walls exactly like away from the work lights, probably roughly 20 feet up, give or take. Just
Everything's fine. There was a weird glitch on OBS. Don't worry about it. It was fine.
you can't say that while I'm narrating verticality.
Something goes wrong.
Everything's fine.
I was just like, what's fall damage in this system? We didn't ever talk about clearing
true.
fatigue at Moore's apartment.
The rocks don't so much fall in this case, but tears on the other no.
Right. No, so yeah, I'm gonna start swooping just to see if I can get an overhead over like what the work lights overlook for the kind of panel Kisima's describing, and to see if maybe there's like, it's the dumb solution, but you know, the big old power cable, the outlet is not going to be where anyone is, you know, so to speak.
Okay.
Is what knocks
good.
this out.
So then would this be kind of an assess situation, or are you just trying to like get somewhere?
I think that is a reasonable
Okay.
interpretation of my actions.
Okay, sounds good.
Imagine we beat our big bad because Tirtz is not paying attention and crashes into the
plug.
power cord.
I mean, it would be the pygmy puma way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's 4 + 3 + creativity is 8.
Great. Okay. So you again, let's are any of the questions relevant here?
What is the biggest threat?
Excellent. Okay. So you aren't sure, at least as far as like what any of this mechanical stuff is. You've got no idea what the purpose of this is. So as far as you're concerned, that's sort of like all right, we set that aside for now. As far as threats in the area, the thing that you're he doesn't display it often, but especially in public. But as you're watching Gravone now, sort of speaking with one of his subordinates, he is sort of in a posture that you probably would recognize very clearly as a sort of earth-bending power stance. That is not like an active like I am going to earthbend at you right now, but more like the kind of stance that is equally applicable to like the concept of earthbending, and also to just comporting oneself in social situations with others. He is very clearly right now trying to intimidate this person that he is speaking
Sure would
with.
be a shame if I earthbent your kneecaps. Got it.
Yeah. And from that,
Got real nice things around here, you know?
yeah, from that, it's very clear to you that just the demeanor of this person tells you that in this room, Gravone is absolutely the
Right.
biggest
For
threat.
like the who is the biggest. Yeah.
As far as what, it doesn't seem like anything in here is particularly threatening per se as far as the machinery goes. Its purpose seems to be like largely its whatever its purpose is seems to be largely passive. It's not like a thing that will. It's not like a machine that seems like it's not emitting any kind of pulse. It's not. Yeah, it seems.
There's nothing that goes.
No.
Gotcha. The ones who are checking the calculations, like I figure the calculate, like you have a calculation. Okay, cool. Now what do you do with it? You turn some knobs about it. Did they turn some knobs about it?
They are standing near like some like sort of a bank on the side of this the larger sort of strange industrial looking machine towards the back, and are currently they aren't turning knobs, but they are taking like they are looking at what appear to be gauges, and writing down like writing on like on some paper, and they continually checking that. Yeah, I'll also give you this because you're kind of in a different perspective now. There is a place nearby where you can see there are like a handful of crates, some of which are empty, some of which are not, but they do have the lids are not on them, and from here you can very clearly see that there are these sort of vine segments is what they look like.
So I think I'm going to be making a push my luck roll, but I remember these crates. I remember hearing about these crates from that poor zonked lady. Hope she got it home okay.
Oh yeah.
That's
Can
what I
I
was thinking too.
yoink from the crates? Like you just get a bunch of like a trick or treat bowl.
Take
What
one.
the fuck are these vines?
No.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be an antisocial trick or treater because we all need these to dose them. Come on, friends.
So it's not the pins. It's not
Right.
like the pins that people are wearing. Like what you see are like essentially like segments of vines in these crates. They're sort of pushed off to the side, but they look like it's a place where there like is regular traffic too. There's nobody there now, but yeah, as you look there, they are definitely like very clearly vines.
I mean, I feel like I'm probably still, despite the lack of the details matching up, going to yoink vines because like maybe it's the like then they process it. I don't know. Maybe this is the sauce, you know? Again, I'm the movement. I am not the brains of the operation. I bring the thing to the brains and then they think.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want a divine intervention.
Okay. Go ahead. This is definitely, you're absolutely correct. This is absolutely a push your luck.
And what it is in particular is like, I need a little bit of height over the glider. So I'm actually going to like hang on to Pickles and Pickles is going to do the yoink.
Incredible.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Like
Yup. 100,000, like the same shot from the kit. Like we're really trying to line it up as the goof.
To think that Pickles then puts a paw out and we could see like the razor sharp claw and like a slice of the vine.
And it just goes ding, like with a little sparkle. 100%. So that activates my best friend move when I push my luck. And Pickles can help. I roll with creativity.
I love that. That's so good.
Incredible. Also, don't mind me. I'm going full tin hat in the fucking chat right now.
Hey, we love a tin hat in the chat. Hey, all right. Yeah.
8. All right. Yeah. You kind of.
I'm gonna scrape by. Perfect roll. Perfect result.
Absolutely. So yeah, Pickles is able to sort of like just kind of grab a piece of that vine. So as that happens, however, I am going to say that as you do that, you kind of catch movement out of the corner of your eye as this is happening, and you from the sort of cylindrical thing in the center, and the sort of swirling that was happening before picks up very suddenly. It's much faster and a bit more frantic. As far as you're aware, nothing else happens, but you do see one or two of the workers kind of look up and sort of stare at it for a little bit, and then slowly look back to what they were doing.
Not knowing whether or not I'm the root of the problem, I bring the vine back to the group.
Okay.
Mm.
So, Tirza returns and presents you with this mysterious vine.
I found this in a crate. It seemed relevant. The scientists are over there by some gauges, taking notes, and Gravone's an earthbender? Or he's posing like one, because, like, he's standing kind of like Niho does right before the other team gives up.
Would I know that about Gravone?
You know what? I would say that you would, but it's not something that he displays often.
Relatable.
Mm-hmm. Like, Gravone has, somebody like Gravone has a lot of other people to do bending for him.
Yeah.
We're
the kind of people that bending is like wasted on. Somebody else could be doing so much
You
more.
have people for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
These vines, though, they remind me of the spirit realm, right? They're connected in some way, and that makes sense for this thing that's caught in the cage.
I'll say, Kisima, with your sort of like knowledge of like mechanisms, technical stuff, 100% these are spirit vines, like 100%.
Okay.
I
do not compute these, therefore they must be spiritual.
Well, it's just because, like, you know that like the experimentations that have been done with spirit energy, as far as like even as recently as the Kuvira's invasion on Republic City years ago, that was kind of, the spirit energy was sort of at the heart of some of that. Merging spirit energy and technology was at the heart of a lot of that. So, and honestly, given that connection, I'm gonna give you this too. You can tell that this sort of cage-like structure, this sort of almost like an upturned net in the center of this room, what the parts of it that aren't cable are definitely platinum. They're definitely made of like these platinum slats that sort of seem to come together to form the superstructure of this upturned net-like structure.
From the manifest.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Kisima. Oh, as a side note, because I forgot to mention this, Kisima definitely changed at Mord's apartment because she was like in that like nice dress situation. Nuh-uh, not for this. So I think she's just kind of like in more like basically pants.
Sure.
Pant moment, but like she can move around more. Her hair is like up in a ponytail, sneaky, which is good because I think I want to go check out like the console that Tirza was talking about, or not the console, but like where everybody's messing around with these knobs. But I do pass that along of like whatever. They're probably just taking whatever energy or essence they can get from these vines and are putting it towards that. And yeah, no, I'm seeing all sorts of stuff from the manifests here, so that mystery is solved, but we need to figure out what they're keeping trapped in there.
And maybe let it free.
Well, yeah.
Obviously. Why would we go in here if we're not going to set free whatever's in that?
Neil.
Kisima reaches up. Shh, you beautiful creature. Shut up.
Oh no.
Wait, but for real though, if things get messy, Niho, can you take Gravone?
I think a better question is, Niho, can you metal bend?
I've never given it some serious thought, but what's a better time to start than now?
Yes, and let's go.
So a thing that you would know is that at the very least, platinum very specifically is a metal that cannot be metal bent. So, um,
Yeah, that actually makes sense. As you said that, I was like, it's gonna be, of course, you can't bend platinum.
yeah,
Super dense.
yeah.
That's so
It's just
much.
it's because
Platinum.
it's one of those. It's
All the
one of
money
the.
in
It's
the world.
the explanation that was given in the in the
Come
show
on, come
is
on,
that
give us some. Come on, rule of lore. Serve
Yeah,
it up.
yeah.
Come
yeah,
on, you
living it for a
nerd.
name. Is that there's it's platinum is too pure of a metal. It doesn't have like the
Mhm.
elements of like earth in it that like make it possible to bend like other metal. So yeah,
I
that is
mean,
There's still other things in here that's made of metal,
that's true.
though.
Yes.
true. Technically speaking, also just from like a weirdo who knows a lot about metals for no real reason. Actually, accurate.
Hmm.
Very true.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, very realistic
The
explanation.
purification.
Yeah.
Good job, Avatar.
So
Too pure for this world. Brought to you by
Yeah.
Avatar.
Yeah.
exactly. All right. So who is holding the spirit vine? Tirza?
Tirza.
All right. So Tirza, you uh as you're holding it, you very suddenly feel like almost like a kind of current run through it for a second. Um, and as you look at it, it begins to sort of very softly, like not casting any kind of light of its own, but like glowing very softly internally. Um, and as that happens, you find yourself standing in the exact same spot, but it is completely different. Um, there are like your companions are nowhere to be seen. There are many more workers than you originally saw, and you can see Gravone, who is still in here but is now standing much closer to you and is talking with somebody. Um, is specifically Juan, his assistant, and he's looking up, just sort of smiling at the machine and saying to Juan, "Yeah, no, it looks good. I think this'll work. This'll work." And you say that it's going to be on schedule, and Juan says, "Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. 100%. And the spirit contained inside has been secured. We had a few minor mishaps. However, this it was largely brushed off as the crowd becoming a little overzealous about the competition above. Good, good. As long as it's all being channeled into the machine, I think that's what the most important thing is. Put the updated reports on my desk tomorrow. I want to see how all this is going. In the meantime, keep handing out the pins at factories around Republic City. No reason that the experimentation process can't also be a little bit of advanced productivity." And Juan says, "Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir." Um, Tirza, the room around you swirls once again as you see like almost like after image of people moving around very quickly, like almost as if watching like a time lapse of the room. Um, you see at one point there is the machine is active, like it wasn't moments before when you were standing with your companions. You see the machine is active, and you can see that the spirit cage in the center of the room is glowing brightly. And that glow, as it is emitting from the spirit cage, it's almost rising like a mist in the room. And as it's rising, it doesn't leave the superstructure. As it kind of connects with the superstructure, the platinum and the cables, you watch as it absorbs into those, almost like it's being vacuumed out of the air by that superstructure. And then you can see as it sort of continues along, running along the cables themselves, as the spirit within, you can, looking at it, you actually see as it's swirling, but less, in a much less graceful manner than you've seen it, even when it was more frantic. Here, this is like random thrashing that you're seeing. And you yourself are, in this moment, are feeling your own emotions fully out of your control. You can feel them that they are like rising beyond a level that they should. Everything is just sort of, you are feeling everything all at once, basically. Around the room, instead of you can feel like it's almost like there's something that should be, like there's something that's missing that's preventing you from regulating this. And as you are experiencing that, it's suddenly gone, and the room kind of goes into like time lapse again, and you see people moving, and suddenly you stop once again in an completely empty room. It's completely empty except for the spirit themselves in the middle in that cage, and then it sort of stops, and you see a pair of lizard-like slit eyes that sort of stare out at you, blink a couple of times, and then suddenly you're standing back with your companions again.
Tirza?
Are you okay?
I set the vine down on my glider. Yeah, they're handing pins out. The vine told me, kinda.
Okay.
One
I
dealing with
saw-
the spirit world.
Yeah, sure.
I saw Gravone talking about how the pins were being handed out on factories, and I saw the spirit getting sucked up through the cables, and I saw the spirit, and we have to let it out.
We'll let it out.
Okay.
And mess up Gravone. Please.
Of course. Yeah.
Obviously.
That's number
We
2 on the
already-
list.
Yeah. We already have like such a bad problem with, the way people treat workers here. We're not gonna deal with that. No.
What should we
Okay.
do?
It sounds like we need to take care of the structure, right? At least Tirza, from the vision you were describing, that's part of what's keeping them entrapped. Because even if we were to shut it down or make the dome collapse, I don't know if there's fail safes. So that's one way we can go about it. Again, there's also completely shutting the whole thing down. It's just difficult because there's not enough of us to go in, bending blazing. We can't take them all down, especially at least with Gravone here. We don't know how many other benders are here.
I don't care. We gotta do something, and we gotta do it now. And Tirza is gonna, you know what? I don't need to know what I see. I want to swoop on the scientists at the gauges like the Batman.
Amazing. This is 100% a push your luck roll.
Yeah. I will say that Ezra's going to use this distraction too to get close to the cylinder, the tube that the spirit is in.
Sure.
Yeah. Niho's also kind of moved down there.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow after Tirza because this is at least, that seems like where Kisima's skills are probably gonna be best utilized. So wherever these
Is
scientists are.
Kisima gonna be maybe helping?
Mm.
Yes, Kisima will whip out one of her weapons.
Ooh.
You have like an assist, right?
Yeah, I can assist.
Without mentioning anything about the specific results of my roll, it would be meaningful if you were to do so.
Yeah. As you come swinging down like the bat, Kisima's going to pull out a different weapon. So, 'cause what did I describe last time? I don't know, but basically she's gonna pull out it was like a glaive, kind of like this spear, and she's going to flick it, and the point of the spear is going to lash out, and it basically kind of is like a whip. It just whips
Cool.
across the back and feet of the scientists.
Amazing. Great. So you're helping Tirza here with that. Yeah. Okay. Great. So
And my hope is we're not in the eye line of Gravone. My hope is that because there's a huge structure and this is like a space, and we are the night, that
the
we
night.
aren't in eyeline, but again, I
Uh,
moved and didn't ask.
Yeah, fair enough. Sure.
But with Kisima, that gets me from a 9 to a 10.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
So basically, here's how this goes. You swoop down on those two who are kind of keeping an eye on the gauges and recording, and one of them like looks up at the exact last second, just as Tirza like bears down on them, and like they go like collapsing into a heap on the ground and like kind of begin scrambling away from you. Yeah, just fully like crab walking back along the ground away from you.
You need to tell us how to shut this down, and you need to tell us now. Or else. And I just meaningfully look over my shoulder at Kisima
Yeah,
and
like-
rising as the night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally cinematically, like the spear whips back and like back into the spear as Pickles
Yeah.
like rises up.
All right, so we'll cut to that as Ezra is and Niho both racing towards the center. Yeah, so you both rush towards the center, towards where this cage is, and as you get there, you can see inside this a spirit who is contained within that has like sort of a very sort of like furred and feathered body, but you can see that like the kind of snout and eyes are very reptilian, sort of as swirling in the middle, almost dragon-like, but definitely much smaller, and like no like arms or anything like that, no limbs of any kind, just a sort of long snake-like feathered and furred spirit that sort of draws
Does it
up
have
level.
wings?
It does not, in fact.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah. So as you approach, it sort of draws up, like eyes kind of come up level with you, Ezra, as you get there, and just sort of stare at you as you approach.
We're here to help.
The spirit sort of continues swirling.
And then Ezra will start like examining the cage and sort of look up to Niho.
Yeah.
What is the cage made of? Like
Yeah.
the specific part that we're at.
Sure. So most of this cage is made of some sort of like metal and like kind of some kind of polymer that are like sort of joined in various places. You can see that through the sort of open area, you can see that the interior of it seems to be lined with platinum. But the actual structure of this cage itself is metal and some kind of polymer.
And does there seem to be like a door
Yeah, actually,
or
that
a lock
is-
or
The place where the clear sort of transparent spot does seem to be a door of some kind. Some sort of, there are, at the very least, there does appear to be some kind of locking mechanism on it. I will also give you this, however. As you have reached the center here, Niho, you feel a sort of rumble, and as you look, you can see that you make eye contact with Gravone, who sees you and just, you see as he does the King Boomy thing where he just fully just like rips right and like just slams fists down and like launches himself on sort of like a wave of earth towards you.
Kind of similar what it did to the storefront. Going to summon like a mouth of earth and just try to clamp into the cylinder and try to like crush it like teeth, like crunching something.
Amazing. Go ahead and give me. I'm pretty sure this is definitely a skills and training situation.
Why bend metal when you can break it?
Skills and training is a
Focus.
but I can use the walls don't hold me, in which I roll a passion instead of focus for using skills and training.
There you
So-
go.
Let's go!
I dice left my box, but that is okay. That's a 10.
Whew.
Oh hell yeah!
All right. So, as you begin, like Gravone bearing down on both of you kind of in the center. You, Niho, just turn away from him and just watching as these huge stone jaws just come up and engulf the cage. And you can see as there's pressure for a moment. Pressure that's kind of being put on the thing. You can hear the kind of grinding and squealing of metal as it's pushing. You can see it denting, and then cracks start appearing in the transparent part of it as it just sort of shatters, collapses in on itself. And then as it does so, you can see that it collapses in on itself under the weight of the pressure of the stone. And then the stone just erupts outwards as the spirit itself, this large, feathered and furred, snake-like being, sort of swirls up, kind of spiraling up above all of you here in this kind of center of this this structure. Everyone around the room, all of the workers freeze immediately. They're just staring at it, kind of awestruck. Even Gravone slows down and sort of like, as he's moving towards you, slows the wave and comes to a stop and just sort of takes a couple steps off of it, continuing to walk towards you, but he's, even he is looking up. You can, Tirza, as we're going back to you, where you sort of are standing over these workers who looked like they were surprised, but they looked up like as if they were about to like be more or less defiant of your demands. And then this happens behind you, and they just sort of stop, and the woman looks up at you and just says, "Those knobs right there, those three, if you turn them to 0, that'll shut the whole thing down."
On it.
You move on over to that Kisima and just sort of begin turning the knobs, and you can feel even that sort of low-level hum that was running through this machine just sort of...
And I will say, in this like moment of quiet, when everyone is in awe of what's happening in the spirit, and Niho is holding all of this together, Ezra punches Gravone in his stupid face.
Let's go!
Yeah.
Like no bending, just full on.
Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna straight up give this one to you because Gravone is in absolutely no way expecting this, in
Right.
no capacity. He walks up to you and he like opens his mouth and he says, "Well, now we are gonna have ourselves a little bit of a problem here, you see, because," and then just wham! He just like fully like cheek rippling,
And then,
kind of like and he sort of goes
If
off
I
the side.
see
Yeah.
that, I'm losing my fucking mind. I'm like,
Turning the
yes,
knobs.
So say we all.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I want to see on the field.
And like as this happens, you see Gravone like stumbles a bit and kind of turns to you and says, not bad, but," and then he freezes. And he's looking past you at this point, Ezra. He's looking past all of you. And as you kind of like sort of slowly turn to follow his gaze, you see that there is this one sort of snake-like spirit just sort of hovering behind you. And behind that, you see Doe and Koi, and then dozens and dozens of other spirits just sort of coming through the walls, basically. As Gravone stares around, and they all begin sort of like rushing past all of you as Gravone sort of backs up. Goes, no, listen, I think we can work this out. It's all, he's like backing up, sort of scrambling away from them as they just sort of rush forward, and engulf him. And as they do, you can hear, like, as he goes, "No!" and that's immediately cut off, like you can't hear anything from him. You can sort of see in this sort of dome of light that they create around him, you can see the silhouette inside of Gravone, and then it becomes painfully bright for a split second, and then it vanishes. And neither the spirits nor Gravone are present any longer, except for the one that was trapped inside. Who sort of circles around and hovers near you, kind of comes level with all of you. And you just hear although the spirit's mouth doesn't move, you can hear a sort of a voice sort of echoing almost even from within you, accompanied by the sounds of like almost that kind of keening wail sound. You can hear, "Thank you for releasing me. Now the balance of emotions may be returned." And as the spirit sort of makes one sort of large circle around the group of you, and then just sort of accelerates through one of the cavern walls and vanishes.
Good job, everyone.
Wow.
I think we should probably turn that guy in, and I want to point to Juan.
Yeah, Juan is like, who has like literally just walked in like from kind of like the back corner, sort of like looks around and like is stopping, like literally like jaw open, like in that very comedic sort of Avatar sort of style where the jaw is like, yeah.
Kisima's going to waterbend some of the water that is like she keeps in her pack out, shoot it towards Juan, and make it freeze around his hands like little handcuffs.
Nice.
Yeah, successfully managed to do it. He does not resist this, and just and you see as the last kind of remaining spirit in the area, Doe, sort of walks forward. He says, "Well, thanks for turning that thing off, because I'm telling you, that was not comfortable."
Thanks for your help.
Sure. I figured I wasn't gonna be much help up there, so I figured me and what's your name again? Koi. Right, Koi. Would figure we'd get some reinforcements.
Glad that you did.
Yeah, ended up being pretty helpful.
Hey, don't go getting soft on me or anything. And he says, he like kind of comedically, because he's a spirit and isn't wearing clothes or anything, but like kind of like brushes himself off and says, "Well then, think I'll stick around Night City for a while. Maybe I'll see you around."
Sure.
Playing tomorrow. So
We'll probably be getting dinner after the match at another noodle house.
All right. Like I said, again, spirits don't eat, but it's fascinating concept. I'd like to, see what it's all about.
or I could splurge on everybody and take us somewhere really nice.
Oh no, Tirza subconsciously looks at Koi and then looks back.
Yeah, Koi is already looking at Tirza, and
Oh no!
and she goes, I don't. Would we be invited too, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can still be my friend, Ezra's friend, Niho's friend. I mean, you might want to be date friends with Tirza, but that's a different conversation that happen later on. Anyway.
So let's go ahead and take this moment to sort of like fast forward a little bit. As like we find ourselves the following day after everything has sort of been like everyone sort of turned over to the authorities who needed to be. Republic City Police easily summoned down into these areas, almost as if they were standing by waiting for something like this to happen. You easily are able to turn over Juan and some of the other workers who are down there working on this thing. And Metal Benders immediately basically began dismantling whatever this contraption was down below. We'll say Kisima, we'll sort of round out this whole thing with sort of little short scenes here as we sort of come to the end of this. Kisima, you it's the following day. You have been called into the Republic City Police Department to sort of give a statement, basically. And as you are kind of finishing that with the beat cop who is taking your statement, there's a knock at the door, and the captain sort of sticks her head in and says, you about done in here?" And the bee cop nods, says, "Yeah, just finishing up." And says, "All right, thank you very much. We'll be in touch with any updates on the case."
No problem. Thank you so much.
And he sort of slides the pen into the clipboard and exits as the captain steps in, and she says, "I wanted to make sure to catch you before you left and
Mm-hmm.
give you some updates. First of all, I wanted to thank you for everything that you and your team did to stop all of this. Unfortunately, without any hard evidence, our hands were tied. So I appreciate
Right.
I appreciate everything that you did. Um, as far as Gravone goes, we haven't been able to find any sign of him. Um, but it is pretty clear that whatever he was doing down there with the spirit was was having a very strong effect on people's, well, the effects that you witnessed in those who were sort of the lethargic individuals around the arena, and on sort of following up a tip from one of the arena workers, we were able to find that it wasn't just localized to the arena. Several of the factories in the area were able to find some of these pins doing raids on them. So, whatever Gravone was doing, it was leading to workers all around the city. Well, it's not hard to figure out. They were compliant and easy to manipulate, and most of them showed signs of having little to no sense of self-preservation. So,
Well, I'm glad that we were able to take care of everything. And clear things up and, take care of these people. So,
as I said, Republic City owes you and the Pygmy Pumas a debt of gratitude.
you're so welcome.
Says, "Very well. You're free to go."
Thanks. And Kizuma's gonna like hop up, despite being in somebody else's chair, definitely was sitting like it was her office. Hops up, kind of like flounces by, definitely still doing that like ditzy kind of like play she always has on. And as she leaves, turns around. So, do you usually work the games?
She looks at you and kind of gives you this sort of searching look for a moment, and then just sort of smiles and says, I've taken lead on the cleanup of Gravone's operation, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll probably be seeing each other around the arena quite a bit the next few weeks."
Well, how lucky for you. And she's gonna like strut out of the office, strut out of
Yeah, and as you walk, there's that, like, as camera sort of like refocuses back on her, she's just
Yeah.
sort of like looking and just sort of and then just turns to sort of like clean up a little bit, sort of straighten up chairs and whatever. We'll go over we'll cut over to the arena, where we'll say the rest of the Pygmy Pumas, you're sort of there, having sort of, in the wake of everything that has happened, like, things have been postponed, but they are on track for like the following week while all the cleanup happens. Everything is taken down. Everything is actually for real assessed for any kind of danger to the public. So for the most part, there's not a whole lot for y'all to do except for train if you want to, or otherwise occupy yourselves. So what are y'all doing in this particular moment?
Yeah, I think we can see a vignette of Ezra returning to like his colleagues and his parents in the medical aspect of the arena, just as like a check-in to make sure everybody's okay. And we can see that he has sort of taken a more leadership role down there. He easily falls into like the old patterns of taking orders and things like that and helping people that may have been injured in some of these attacks, but is definitely stepping up and has a voice and yeah, is not the same sort of pushover.
Yeah. Um, there is. I'll say. I'll just sort of zero in on this scene real quick because I'll say as you are sort of in that moment, in one of those moments in the in sort of like that the clinic there, uh, you see one of the other healers kind of looks at you and says, "Ezra, I think somebody's here to see you." Uh, as you look over, you actually see Sai walking in, sort of like looking like, "Hey, how's it going? Hey,
Oh,
hey," and then he looks at you like, "Hey, there you are."
I'll be right with you. And he's gonna
Sure,
finish up
sure.
on with like a client or a patient.
Mhm. Yeah, and he kind of is just sort of like looming in the background, just, um, yeah. But and so yeah, you finish up and Sai goes,
Are you okay? Is everything all right?
"Oh yeah, everything's great. No, I mean we got escorted to the police department last night, but we weren't in any trouble. We were just causing a public disturbance. So
Yeah, I heard that you could take it pretty far, and then he's just unconsciously starting to like examine him to look for any signs of
yeah, he
earth
doesn't
bending
he doesn't pull away or
damage.
resist at all. He says, "Yeah, I mean, it's just a fire blast here, a chunk of rock just a little bit too close to the shoulder. It looks pretty realistic. Mort and I have a lot of practice doing that kind of thing."
Well, I'll see what I can do, and they'll start patching him up.
Sure, sure. So just a quick question. Your offer still stand for training together?
Yeah, I mean, I could really use some control over my fire. I mean, even when I have another source, it's a little bit hard and could lead to dangerous situations for my friends.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And this and kind of like points to like what you're doing. It's like this makes no sense to me. So,
Oh, well, it's easy. And he'll take his hand
hmm
and sort of like he's reading a palm or something.
yeah,
Just focus your energy like this and sort of massages it and manipulates
yeah.
his hand.
And as you're doing that, he's like, "Huh, okay." And like so that goes as you're doing this, he says, "Oh, by the way, what are you doing after this?"
I'm a fan of noodles.
Great, me too. And he doesn't say anything more as you continue to sort of like instruct him in this like, um, what is what
Here, you can practice on her. And we'll go over to someone else.
um yeah, excellent. Niho, what is Niho doing?
Probably like doing like some basic movement practice, and probably has if Mort is around, probably roped him into just kind of like some basic like stance, like combat, not like throwing any rocks around or anything, but just like some basic techniques, and doing her best to do the Pygmy Puna style of throwing him off his balance at any opportunity.
Yeah. And in turn, Mort has also shown you like it is technically an illegal move in bending, but it's basically showing you how to like use the same technique of like that often earthbenders in actual combat where they like will bend the stone up around their feet to sort of root themselves, showing you how to use those same concepts in a non-bending capacity to sort of like keep your own roots essentially, um basically showing you some of those same techniques. Yeah, it is Mort is not a man of many words. So like it's a lot more showing than actual speaking or anything like that. So, but for the most part, those training sessions, they proceed in
Gonna
Especially
have
with
to.
Niho, I feel like there's a lot of grunting and then like clasping of like approval.
yep.
There's a big sweaty handshake at the
Yeah,
end of
yeah.
that.
Incredible.
you can hear it.
Ew. I never did get to try your tea, and probably still better than the leaves outside. But
I think I might have some in my locker. I keep some around just for some emergency situations.
it's probably hot water somewhere, right?
If not, there's firebenders around.
Exactly. That's the thinking.
All right. One more set and then we'll go.
Sure.
Excellent. We will we'll cut over to finally to Tirza. Where is Tirza, who may or may not be by themselves?
Definitely not
Mhm.
because Pickles is with me.
Mhm.
Obviously.
How dare you forget Lucas?
Best friend says so on my move sheet, despite definitely loving Liv Kisima more. It's all right though. Like, look, love it's fine. The important thing is that Pickles hold this little spot that I'm trying to tie the bow around for this little it's like kind of a spherical like aquarium thing, like the tiniest fishbowl. And in it is like a little base, and then there I heard that there were underwater flowers that are near the water tribe, and so I thought maybe Koi would like those. So we're trying to put this bow on it right now. Pickles and we've got this. It's putting a bow on glass, so it is not going super smoothly. But I feel like
glass
Or
too.
too smoothly.
precisely the problem. And so I feel like at a dramatically appropriate moment, that bow is going to go flying.
Fair enough. So, as you are attempting this, so like where is this happening? Like where?
Yeah, this is happening probably like because we have access to the practice facility.
Mhm.
I'm in the locker room the Pygmy Pumas had used for the match. But like, you know, the it's a fairly open locker room. The doors are open, all that good stuff.
Sounds good. So as you're doing this, and working on it, you do hear footsteps approaching behind you, and you turn and you see Koi, who's standing there, says, hi. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
I nope, just doing, exercise, getting my mentals strong before practice.
Right.
How are you?
I'm great, actually. I had no idea how fast. I mean, I believed that Kisima was going to get me in contact with people. I had no idea how fast she worked.
Really?
I just had a meeting actually with someone who was wants me to come in and meet some people around a studio. So,
Good.
yeah, I just wanted to come by and say thank you because I was ready to step away from all this and go back home and explain to people why I wasn't a big mover star, and you sort of helped me. You sort of talked me out of that, and thank you.
Good, because I like good movers. So they should have stars like you in them. Because then they'll be good. I know that like there was all sorts of spirit world energy and stuff, and like people were feeling all sorts of weird emotions. Like Sai was angry, and all those people were lethargic. So I get maybe things were weird because of spirit stuff. But maybe if it wasn't, and they holds up the little sphere
She
flower.
looks at it and goes, and like the bow at this point just sort of slides off of it, falls to the ground.
Oh, I tried to just use some air bending to try to get it up there, and so it's like floating side by side. It's a nightmare. This is not going well.
No,
this
not
is
at
not
all.
the plan.
She looks at it and says, "Oh, is that for me?"
I'm sorry if it was dumb. I'm sorry.
No, Not at all. She just takes. I just haven't seen one since I was home, and thank you again. Do you know my favorite my favorite Nuktuk mover is playing not far from here. Do you? I don't know. Do you maybe want to go? And...
I'd love to. And Tirta's gonna scooch to the edge of their glider
Mhm.
and move 90%.
Yeah. She like sort of freezes for a moment, but then just you can see like the resolve sort of like set in, and then just goes the rest of the way.
I smooched the girl.
And I think that's the perfect moment to sort of fade out on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. This has been incredible. We went a little bit later because I wanted to make up a little bit of time and want to make sure we get all those like nice, satisfying endings there.
Mhm.
So, before I turn you over to our lovely players here and let them tell you where you can find them, I have a few things that I wanted to say here. Which was, first of all, this is an honestly incredible project to work on with Q Times. So I wanted to first and foremost thank Jake and Krug for being just incredible. Jake is one of those people that you need to go and appreciate far more than you already do, because Jake does so much, just so much, and is in the best way possible a whirlwind of a human being. Like, Jake is one of those people that if you talk to Jake for a few minutes, like, by the end of those few minutes, there is a plan in place. There is there is stuff, like, there's everything is ready to go. So like, y'all, if you Jake, Kyle, go and appreciate Jake. Thank you so much, Jake and Krug, for being an amazing GM and co-conspirator. This was fantastic, and also for providing way better notes than I would have had I been first. So thank you. Of course, I want to thank John Boyle for also our the other half of the Rule of Lore writers room, for being again, great co-conspirator, excellent for bouncing ideas off of, and for just sort of generally providing some of the additional sort of organizational stuff behind the scenes when my spoons were low. So thank you, John. um, Also want to thank Caitlin Bruder for doing additional promotional materials. So those were fantastic, and they came so much more. I asked Caitlin for a couple of very specific things. I got those and then some. So, thank you so much, Caitlin. So, and then of course, I want to thank the people that you see around me here on screen. Y'all were an incredible group of people to play games with. I always felt like you had all I had to do was just sort of toss you a little crumb and you would just go running with it, which was incredible. So thank you all so much for being part of this. And that's what I've got. So that's enough from me. The last thing that I will say is, if y'all want to keep tabs on what Rule of Lore is doing coming up, best thing to do is to join the Discord, which John will put a link to that in the chat right now. So if you want to keep apprised of what we're doing, that is the place to be. And I think I will turn us over. Liv, we'll start with you. Tell these fine people where they can find you.
Hi, I'm Liv. You can follow me on Twitter at liveinaday. Especially because I was told recently with love that me reading out my schedule feels like a squire just like town calling to the people. Just dropping the scroll and like, and on Monday. But yeah, I stream from channel to channel. You can catch me on Total Party Chill. I might be hanging out around Q Times again, maybe, and one day I will return to Rule of Lore. But other than that, listen to me on podcasts. Just follow me on Twitter. But Thank you so much. This was so much fun. I like, gosh, Avatar was like such a huge part of not really my childhood, but like I guess like my tween years, I think is like the most accurate time to say I was watching the show. So, but like right in that point where like you still believe in magic and you're like in the shower and you're like, maybe I can waterbend, maybe just a little bit. So like being able to like live that was a lot of fun, especially with people who I deeply appreciate, deeply respect, deeply admire. All of you lovely folks, Krug, Jake, John, even though John just haunts me from afar. I never ever play with John, but John's hand is ever everything I do. I just had a blast. It was a good time.
Awesome. Sam.
I'm Sam Delev. I have been Titsa, the airbender and awkward homo. You can find me doing, yep, pretty much that throughout the internet. So if you like, you might also. The schedule for which is on my Twitch about page, twitch.tv/Delevely, Delebely. In my one-offs are on Twitter at Tchaikovsky, ChaiKovsky. Particularly, I am in a virtual play that goes up a week from today, called She Kills Monsters. It is about dungeons and dragons because we know what kind of play is going to cast me. Also, it's gay. There is a whole lot of gender that may or may not be what the playwright intended. You're just going to have to go watch and find out because all ticket sales go to support two trans charities, Trans Lifeline and Mermaids UK. So all the information for that is on my pinned tweet, again, at Tchaikovsky. So please check that out. Also, you're here on Rule of Lore. If you like Rule of Lore people and you want to see them, please check them out tomorrow on Q Times for the season premiere of Power Play, which not only stars y'all's very own Kate Bruder, but will have a special guest appearance from Draconic.
Amazing. Thank you, Sam. Xander.
Yay! Thank you so much for playing with me. I also love this world, and I love Ezra, my little healing firebender who found courage at the end. You can find me all over the internet at Xanderific with 2 R's and 1 F. My main hub is Twitter, where my full schedule is, but I also stream here on Twitch. I'm in a bunch of different games that range anywhere from Power Rangers to Vampire the Masquerade. So keep an eye out on my schedule, and there's more stuff that's even in the can coming out soon.
Awesome. And of course, the inimitable Remy Ripple.
Yeah. Hello, it's me, Remy. You can find me on Twitter at RemyPost. I'm a plushie maker, seamstress, illustrator, do whatever the heck I want, or maker. I currently not in any like beyond this no stream stuff at the moment, but you can see whatever I'm up to next on Twitter. I'm playing Disco Elysium right now. That's fun. That's what I'm doing right now. But this has been a whole lot of fun. I love playing with the Rule of Lore crew, and you guys over from Q Times has been a total joy. It's man, it's amazing. I don't know how much more I could gush about it before I just repeat things that everybody has already said, but it's been great.
Oh my gosh, it's almost like we should do a season 2.
That's out in the world now. My goodness.
I would be remiss if I didn't feed into one of the Rule of Lore persistent memes and follow Remy on Twitter.
Thank you.
So, all right, and of course, I have been Lucas Santana. I have been your GM for these last 2 episodes of Republic City Rumble. You can usually find me right here on this channel Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time for our Cypher System Sci-Fi Supers Actual Play Infinite Horizon. All previous episodes of which you can find on our YouTube channel. And on Fridays, you can find me also here at 7 p.m. Pacific time with Ramblemancy, our roundtable style talk show, where we talk about all kinds of nerdy and nerd adjacent things. Sometimes we talk about a little bit of everything, and sometimes we talk about basically nothing. So you can come and join us for that chaos on Fridays. Um, I think for the time being, that's all that we have to plug on the channel because this was the thing that we were plugging for a long time, and now we're going to sleep for days. So, um, thank you so much, everybody, for coming and tuning in. Um, and again, thank you to all of my players here for being just incredible and excellent co-conspirators in storytelling. We will see you hopefully on Wednesday for Infinite Horizon. But if not, we will see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everyone.